boarding schools. These schools were tools of assimilation and cultural genocide, resulting in the loss of language and culture and the permanent separation of children from their families. The proclamation I'll share today signals our support for the National Native American Boarding Schools Healing Coalition, which was created to develop and implement a national strategy that increases public awareness and cultivates healing for the profound trauma experienced by individuals, families, communities, American Indian and Alaska Native nations resulting from the U.S. adoption and implementation of the boarding school policy of 1869. I'll turn this over to Tribal Relations Community Liaison Miranda Michon to provide some background on this proclamation. Good morning, Miranda.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler, City Council, and staff for making time for this important item this morning. My name is Miranda Michon. I'm the Community Liaison with the Tribal Relations Program. Today, we are asking that the City Council make a statement in support for the Truth and Healing Commission on Indian boarding schools. The issue of Indian boarding schools is one that deeply impacts Native people across the country. To be frank, you would be hard-pressed to find a Native person who has not been affected by the pain and trauma inflicted by Indian boarding schools. It is our goal as a program to raise awareness around this issue and facilitate ongoing consultation that protects these histories and investigates the cultural genocide and forced assimilation enacted by the federal government. Today, I will share with you recorded remarks from Teresa Sheldon with the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition. As a side note, in her remarks, Teresa makes mention of voting on a resolution. I think that she's just used to that practice, but just to be clear, she's been made aware that you all are not voting on a resolution today and that this is a proclamation. So with that said, I will share my screen and the remarks from Teresa. Hopefully that goes smoothly. I'm hoping that the sound comes through too. If the council clerk could help me to confirm that you can see the screen and the sound. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hardesty.
No sound.
Yeah, we cannot hear the sound. One moment. We'll get it right, Miranda. 1 second. We're working on it.
Miranda, can you hear me? So when you click share your screen, there's going to be 2 options, check boxes at the bottom. One is going to say, okay.
Hello, I'm Teresa Sheldon, citizen of the Tulalip Tribe, Director of Policy and Advocacy at the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition, known as NABS. Today, I just want to thank the Portland City Council for bringing forward and voting on the resolution that will support the creation of a United States Truth and Healing Commission on Indian boarding schools and other actions to address the lasting harm of Indian boarding schools. This resolution acknowledges that Oregon State had over 23 federal Indian boarding schools, 12 boarding schools as established by the Department of Interior's federal definition, and 11 day schools that operated throughout the state. The intentions of these boarding schools was the separation of Native American children of their families, cultures, and tribal communities through the removal, erasure, and most oftentimes death of Indian children, forbidding them to engage in cultural practices. The City of Portland supports the U.S. Department of Interior to investigate the loss of life and consult with tribal nations on ongoing efforts and reconciliation initiatives. We are so thankful the city is doing this. We recognize the harm and lasting effects forced assimilation and colonization has had on families in our Native communities. I would really just like to express my gratitude and appreciation to Mayor Ted Wheeler, the city commissioners, and also the Tribal Relation Director, Laura John, and all those working hard and diligently to bring awareness to Native issues, especially how important this topic is. We can't underestimate lasting impacts are. And so the Department of Interior's report, doing their own work on city council and bringing forward these issues is so appreciated. So on behalf of NABS, we just want to say, Teague Seed, thank you, and raise our hands to you. And we appreciate you being willing to do this work, being willing to be a part of this truth-telling time, and being willing to be able to look at history accurately and correctly and say, this did happen, this does have lasting impacts, and we're not going to turn a blind eye. So Teague Seed, thank you for your time. I appreciate you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you to Teresa Sheldon, and of course, Miranda, thank you for your leadership as well. Colleagues, anybody have any comments before I read the proclamation?
Mr. Mayor,
Mapps.
I do have a couple
Please.
of brief comments. Colleagues, I'm glad to support this proclamation. I agree with Teresa's comments. All Oregonians should remember that Indian boarding schools are not a distant problem. Boarding schools are part of Oregon's history, too. In fact, the first Indian boarding school in the United States opened in 1860 on the Yakima Indian Reservation, which is just a 3 hours drive away from Portland, Oregon. Ultimately, more than 300 American Indian boarding schools were opened in the United States. 8 of those schools were established here in Oregon. The goal of the American Indian boarding school movement was to assimilate Indian tribes into the, quote, American way of life. Native American children in boarding schools were separated from their parents and forbidden from speaking their native language. The literal and misguided philosophy behind the Native American boarding school movement was this: kill the Indian, save the man. Now, here in Portland today, we still live with the wounds caused by our ancestors' genocidal wars against Native Americans. For example, today here in Portland, poverty rates amongst Native Americans are triple the rates of their white neighbors. More than 20% of Portland's Native American community experiences hunger on a monthly basis. Further, today, the average Native American family in Portland can only afford to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in just 4 of Portland's 95 neighborhoods. And finally, to bring it back full circle, back to the theme of Native American education, today here in Portland, about half of our Native American high schooler students fail to graduate. Colleagues, these facts remind us that this council can and must promote healing in Portland's Native American community by creating better and fairer public policy. I support this proclamation today because the federal government's Truth and Healing Initiative is an important step in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Miranda, for bringing these items forward, and Teresa Sheldon for her words today. I want to also lift up and recognize the vibrancy, resiliency, and strength of the Native communities in our state and around the world. And I also want to acknowledge the painful and traumatic history of genocide and forced assimilation by our local, state, and federal government that Native communities have faced for generations. These actions should never be forgotten, and our government must and can do better. And we need to face and acknowledge our real history and push for truth and reconciliation. So I'm glad that today we're declaring our strong support for the creation of the U.S. Truth and Healing Commission on Indian boarding schools. But we must continue to investigate the past wrongs of government's practices of cultural genocide and assimilation and the ongoing historical and intergenerational trauma that is devastating tribal communities for these children and also for future generations.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Commissioner Ryan.
I think I caused that. I apologize. Are you okay? You forgive me? All right.
Everybody's awake now.
God, that was not how I wanted to begin. Miranda, thank you so much for being here and centering us in truth today. And it was really a gift to have you here, Teresa Sheldon, as well. I agree with what my colleagues said. I'll be brief and just say that, you know, the truth does set us free.
You're the
I
only
think
one
what's
who can hear anything.
the optimism I have right now is that children today will get the real history. as opposed to what my generation received, which was basically nothing on issues like this. And so keep showing up, keep centering us in truth. The truth does set us free again. And I'm just really grateful that we're having this moment. And of course, I'm very supportive of this resolution. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. And so now I'll read the proclamation on behalf of the City Council. Whereas Indian boarding schools were created through the Indian Civilization Fund Act of 1819, which was created to administer the education, healthcare, and rations promised to tribal nations under treaty law, and President Ulysses S. Grant's peace policy of 1868, which opened the civilization funds to be used by churches. And whereas, as a result of those laws, over 367 Indian boarding schools were established and run by the government and religious organizations located throughout the United States. Children as young as 3 years of age were sent away to Indian boarding schools across Oregon State, and in many cases, Native American children were sent out of state. And whereas the deliberate intention of Indian boarding schools was the separation of American Indians, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiian children from their indigenous identities, cultures, languages, beliefs, and tribal communities to assimilate them into non-Indian culture, which had the effect of cultural genocide. And whereas Indian boarding schools employed assimilation through removal, haircutting, issuing uniforms, forbidding Native languages and cultural practices, administering corporal punishments, child labor, and forced sterilizations of Native American women, which were often carried out without law or policy and constituted in many cases physical, emotional, and mental torture for noncompliance. And whereas by 1926, nearly 83% of American Indian and Alaska Native school-age children were taken and enrolled in Indian boarding schools in the United States, but nearly 62% of the school records have been lost or destroyed, therefore leaving the full extent of harm created by the Indian boarding school policy undetermined. And whereas the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition, NABS, filed a Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, in 2016, asking how many boarding schools the government funded, how many children attended, and how many went missing or died at the schools. And the BIA responded that they could not answer because research would need to be done. And whereas, through NAB's independent research, they've only been able to locate records for 38% of the 367 listed boarding schools. Records for approximately 62% of the schools on the list are unknown locations. And whereas, in June of 2021, Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland announced the creation of a federal Indian boarding school initiative to investigate the loss of human life and lasting consequences of residential Indian boarding schools by identifying boarding school facilities and sites, the location of known and possible student burial sites located at or near school facilities, and the identities and tribal affiliations of students interred at such locations. And whereas the City of Portland envisions a city where all community members and visitors have the freedom, agency, and platform to share and amplify their true and accurate history, language, cultures, and experiences. At the same time, we acknowledge that our actions, both conscious and unconscious, past and present, have benefited some communities while limiting opportunities and outcomes for others, most notably American Indians, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians. And whereas the City of Portland works toward our vision by addressing and working to eliminate institutional racism and to repair the damage caused by harmful policies and behaviors in programs as well as in practice. Now therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, the Mayor of the City of Portland, the City of Roses, do hereby declare that the Portland City Council supports the creation of a United States Truth and Healing Commission on Indian boarding schools and other actions to address the lasting harm of Indian boarding schools. Thank you. Thank you, Miranda. This is the September 28th, 2022 morning session of the Portland City Council. Now in session. Keelan, please call the roll.
Hardesty.
Aye. Here.
Maps.
Here.
Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here, we'll hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. City Council is holding hybrid public meetings with limited in-person attendance in addition to electronic attendance. If you wish to testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance by visiting the council agenda on the council clerk's webpage at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. You may sign up for communications to briefly speak about any subject. You may also sign up for public testimony on resolutions, reports, or the first readings of ordinances. In-person testimony may occur from one of several locations, including City Council chambers and the Lovejoy Room in City Hall and the Portland Building. Written testimony may be submitted at cctestimony@portlandoregon.gov. Your testimony should address the matter being considered at the time. When testifying, please state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Please disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings so everyone can feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If there are disruptions, a warning will be given that further disruption may result in the person being ejected for the remainder of the meeting. After being ejected, a person who fails to leave the meeting is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Thank you.
Thank you. First up is communications. Keelan, first individual, please, item 789.
Request of Andrew Sterling to address council regarding experience working in Bureau of Transportation Traffic Division.
3 minutes. Name for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Sterling. I'm a traffic crew leader in the pavement signs and markings section for PBOT. I've been with the city about 7 years. I'll give you a brief day-to-day basis of what we do. We install all the lane lines, bike lanes, bus-only lanes, as well as the project delivery, which includes transportation equity plans that we have in progress, and maintaining pedestrian and bike safety, as well as motorist safety. That we're all trying to get to this transportation equity plan. I also wanted to talk about what we do as staff for snow and ice, landslides, and flooding. So we are considered employees that have to show up for all of our emergencies. We worked entirely through COVID, in person, on site every day. And that includes snow and ice. We had several storms. I myself go from days to nights. So at the drop of a hat, I'm now on nights. I show up at 6 p.m. and I work until 6 o'clock in the morning. Many of my coworkers are working, including myself, 70 to 80 hours a week during these emergencies. And then we have to pick up where we left off for maintenance operations. It's been hard for us to continue maintenance operations. We had a very late spring, very wet spring. So we've been working right after the emergencies ended, starting at 3 a.m., working until 3 o'clock in the afternoon to catch up on our paint striping. That's a priority for us for safety, for motorist safety, for bike safety, for pedestrian safety, as well as crosswalk maintenance and crosswalk installations throughout downtown, outer southeast, northeast, and the southwest hills. Those are all things that we have to do, and it's priority one for us after the emergencies to get those things back in place. Our snow plows take those out, and we have to respond by replacing delineators and making sure that our public and constituencies folks are safe out there when they're moving about the city. This has led to a decline in being able to retain employees and a decrease in being able to hire employees. We are currently in a contract negotiation with Labor's Local 483 in the city. I will tell you that crew leaders carpenters, concrete finishers, and equipment operators are anywhere between $5 and $12 behind what the privates are paying. Our retirement has been defunded. Our benefits have been in decline in the last 15 years. So what I'm asking of you guys today is to support us and what we do on a day-to-day, our day-to-day operations. We're here through COVID, through snow and ice. We make sure the Portland Fire, the Portland Police, and AMR can get to you. We plow and maintain all of the collectors and all of the infrastructure on the roads. And we've got a lot of thank yous from downtown, but those thank yous dry up when we ask for more money. And we're suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Andrew, for being here. And let me just say, I concur. You may hear me constantly say that the folks that work for maintenance in PBOT have showed up every single day regardless. And you have been in the lead on many of the crises this community has experienced over the last few years. So just want you to know, Andrew, your commissioner in charge absolutely appreciates the work that you do every single day. And your folks out there in all kind of weather, doing the best you can with the limited resources we have. And I also know it's not your fault. We have a $4 million maintenance backlog. So we'll just keep doing the best we can with what we got. But I want you to know I hear you, and I absolutely agree that you have showed up. You've done the overtime. You've been here through every crisis. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Andrew, I know you mentioned this in your testimony, but could you repeat it for me because I missed it. What union are you part of?
Labor's Local 483.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Andrew, thank you. And I heard what you said, that the thank yous dry up when the money question comes up, but I still don't want to miss the opportunity to say thank you to you and your colleagues. And I'm very mindful of the fact that even as we have this discussion about people returning to downtown, as we have this discussion about how to make our city an employer of choice and not only be able to recruit the good people that we have like you, but also retain them, you have been here throughout the pandemic, you and your colleagues, and I don't want to forget that. And you are the first responders. When we have a weather emergency or we have another infrastructure emergency in our city, you are amongst the first people that we call and the first to arrive on scene to help things out. We saw an infrastructure emergency a couple of years ago. You'll remember this, Commissioner Hardesty, in North Portland when we had that water main break. Of course, we had our Water Bureau folks come out, but that obviously created a massive transportation emergency as well. And you guys were there. So I just don't want you to come in front of the City Council without my thanks and gratitude for the good work that you do. It is hard work, and it's often not appreciated to the degree it needs to be. You have one of those jobs where people sort of don't notice it unless it doesn't happen, right? You know what I'm talking about. So I see the good work, and I appreciate the good work, and I want to thank you for being here to share your perspective.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, commissioners, for sparing your time to listen to me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your good work. Next individual, please, Keelan, item number 790.
Request of Sarah Pearson to address council regarding Division Street business economic damages.
Good morning.
Sarah, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry, guys. Hello. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties.
No worries.
Hello. Thank you guys for giving me the chance to come on here and talk and express my concern with the new construction all along Division. I own a business, A1 Hawk, on 123rd and Division. We've been there since about 2000. And not only has it decreased in business, having customers be able to pull in, just the, how much slow our store is, and all of our connecting businesses around us have been saying the same thing. So it's not just us. People aren't able to pull in. They have to drive way out of their way, and everybody knows how busy the intersection is on 122nd Division. So they would have to go past that, go through that intersection, and go all the way around. But not only that, but then the safety of cars, so many of them are driving over the center medians, doing U-turns. And it's just been a huge issue. And, I would like, our business has already been there for 23 years, and I would hate to have to close down because we have lack of customers being able to come into our store. My sister and I both own A1 Hawk. Our dad started the store from scratch. He opened up his first store in 1985 and opened up this location in 2000. And it's always been our busiest location. And our dad passed away about a year and a half ago. And since the construction, we've definitely seen a huge decrease, at least 30%, 30 to 40% less customers come in per day because they just don't feel like, arguing to get into our parking lot. This is my first time doing this, so I'm not really sure I'm supposed to end that.
Sarah, thank you. And yeah, we hear you. And since you've got the mic, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? What is it? And I'm sure there's some people out there who'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, so we are a pawn shop. We lend money to people that don't have any money, and they come in and, bring in their item, and we lend them some money on it. And then when they have 90 days to come back and pay us back, and we give them their items back.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. Commissioner Hardesty, I think, has a comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Sarah, for showing up today. Oh, what happened to your phone? Did you drop it?
I don't know. All of a sudden, you guys are very quiet.
No, well, all of a sudden you went black, so I'm just going to assume you're still there, and I'm just going to keep talking. Let me say that the major safety improvements that have just been completed on Division will save people's lives. The second most deadly thing that happens in the city of Portland, second only to gun violence, is vehicle violence. We must change drivers' behavior in order to stop killing people on our streets with automobiles. I am proud of the safety improvements that have been installed, and your customers will, I hope, will learn how to adapt to a safer community where people using all modes of transportation can safely get their needs met. For too long, the city has been a city where automobiles ruled, but automobiles kill people. At 20, 25 miles an hour, I will survive. At 40 to 50, I will not, as a pedestrian. And
Absolutely.
So I just want you to know that all of us are changing our behavior because we want to save lives, and we don't want cars speeding at any time, anywhere in our city.
Am I able to comment on that?
Yes, please.
And it's not about the speed. I am absolutely 110% okay with the speed. I'm talking about all the medians and road dividers, and you have to drive a mile to be able to take a left to pull into any business. We have FedEx deliveries that come in that can't pull in, have a hard time pulling in.
So, Sarah, I do understand that. I mean, clearly, what we're asking drivers to do is change their behavior so that the community will be safer. And so I get it. Everybody is changing because we are lowering speed limits. We're adding mediums. Hopefully, we'll be adding some trees out there as well. But again, I understand change is hard for all of us. But I stand 100% behind this change because it is clear it will save lives. And I'd much rather save lives than allow people to get to where they want to go as quickly as possible. So thank you so much for testifying. I hope this won't be your last time at City Hall. Now that you're an expert, you can feel free to come back and weigh in at any time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Next individual, please. Item number 791, Keelan.
Request of John Tarlow to address council regarding Outer Division Safety Project revenue losses.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, City Council. My name is David Tarlow. I'm from Washman Car Washes. We employ over 275 employees, and we strongly oppose the city's apparent plan to install medians on 82nd that will prevent customers from accessing our business. We have already suffered a 30% decline in business as a result of the medians that were placed on Division. This misguided plan to install the medians was developed without any public input or process. It is misguided. We only heard about it anecdotally, and that is not right. And that apparently was too late to object to the City Council's recent vote to begin engineering without evidence input in affected businesses. The city must be transparent when it contemplates taking actions that can significantly disrupt our business and residents alike, like installing medians that prevent connectivity. It has not been made evident what the problem is that the city is chasing to justify the devastating impact of potentially putting in a median on 82nd. Before engineering starts, where's the evidence that such an extreme safety measure is needed? Top down has never been the Portland way. A transparent process should be developed that allows the public to engage with the city to come up with appropriate alternatives that work for all communities. Installing medians should be a last resort. It is terrible for businesses on 82nd, and it's terrible for businesses on Division, and you will probably hear it is a bad idea for 82nd area residents too. 82nd is the corridor where the city directs businesses to be. The corollary is that the city must take actions to protect the 82nd business corridor it's worked to create and improve so that it can serve the needs of businesses and by extension, the Portland citizens those businesses serve. The city is widely accused of being unacceptable and inhospitable to businesses and residents alike. This is an opportunity to prove those naysayers wrong and keep the businesses thriving that Portlanders depend on. If the problem is pedestrian access to the corridor, then the solution is to install crosswalks and flashing lights. A median does not help pedestrians. If the problem is people driving too fast, the solution is cameras or reduced speed limits that will slow traffic. But whatever the problem, the solution is not to make people make an extra trip down 82nd, turn left on Gleason, then U-turn on Gleason, and then make their way back to our business. That out of direction travel is confusing, causes slowdowns and congestion, where the illogical out of direction travel happens and adds vehicle miles travel that is wholly avoidable by just employing thoughtful solution to whatever the problem there is. The city should convene a stakeholder group of 82nd Avenue businesses and residents to identify problems, if any, and engage with the city for solutions. But the city should not simply install medians, and the council should reject that proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony and your perspective this morning. Next individual, please key in item number 792.
Request of Gillian Rose to address council regarding homeless crisis and drug epidemic.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Jillian Rose. Can you all hear me okay?
We can hear you and see you. Welcome.
Okay, great. So I moved here from the East Coast 4 years ago. I moved here in hopes of becoming a part of a progressive city where it seemed like its leaders cared about social issues. What's transpired here is not progressive, guys. Allowing people to live on the streets, fill them with trash and their own feces while openly using drugs is not progressive. It's insane and it's unacceptable. The homeless crisis here is a public safety, public health, drug addiction, and mental health crisis. It's a constant reminder how I feel that it's not a priority for you. And you truly don't care about either side, the people living on the streets or the people here who are really trying to have a safe place to live and raise their families. Portland has become the laughing stock of the country. It really has. I'd like to share with you some very real examples of how out of control this problem is and how it's been impacting our lives. Powell Boulevard is full of tents, full of trash, broken down cars and trailers, along with an active open drug market where I routinely see people sticking needles in their arms or smoking meth out of aluminum. It's taken over the parking lots meant for commuters, and it spills out onto the sidewalks as well. So pedestrians don't even have a place to walk. The Springwater Trail, which was once beautiful, is completely taken over as well. Last year, while biking on the trail, my partner was swung at and attacked by one of these people. When you consider carrying a gun or bear mace while riding your bike, I think something is severely, severely wrong. My friend is a realtor who just recently lost a deal because a homeless camp popped up in front of the house his clients were about to buy. What if that's how you make a living? Are you going to subsidize that loss for him? My neighbor across the street works at a manual hospital as an occupational therapist. More than half of the cases she sees are homeless who have infections due to drug use or severe burns because they set their camps on fire or themselves on fire. Who's paying for all that? They're not. The majority of the people in the streets are there out of their own will. And I'm not talking about people who have fallen on hard times. I'm not. These other people do not intend on getting off the streets or getting clean. They're there because they have heard about Portland homelessness. They've been enabled. And one of the first things you learn about addiction is that it's not compassionate, it's not care, it's cruel. You have to stop enabling this. We deserve transparency on how the $262 million budget going to the Joint Office of Homeless Services is being used. Are they going to stay clean in order to get housing? I read the budget overview and it only references clean and sober living for a total of 150 people. What about the rest? I'm angry and I'm sad and I'm fed up. And I'm so sick of having politicians pander to a work agenda that's been nothing short of an epic failure. Please admit the failure and start doing the right thing. Stop wasting our money and destroying our beautiful city. And please start being leaders. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. You made your point emphatically clear. Thank you for being here and sharing your perspective. We do appreciate it. Next individual, I believe last one signed up for communications today, item number 793.
Request of Tracy Goodman to address council regarding Portland Khabarovsk sister city relationship.
Good morning.
Tracy, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that.
We can hear you now.
Thank you. Hopefully you can see my screen as well.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, well, my name is Tracy Goodman. I know I'm limited on time, so I'll jump into this. Okay, so I have outlined 3 reasons for maintaining the relationship with Russia and the counter to these reasons. 1, the programs promote long-term peace around the world. In fact, Russian troops invaded Bucha, Ukraine, tied the hands of civilians behind their backs, tortured and committed heinous acts of sexual violence before murdering them. Portland's sister city of Russia is Khabarovsk, home to one of the Russian troops that carried out the Bucha massacre. These inhumane practices of genocide are ongoing in real time. The second reason is the sister city relationships provide a channel of communication to isolated Russians. In fact, it is through the sister city relationship that hands the Russian Federation more ammunition to kill innocent Ukrainians. The Portland Khabarovsk sister city held an event in March. This event was aired on Russian TV, printed in their paper, pushed out on YouTube and Russian social media. And covering the event, a Khabarovsk newspaper quotes Portland officials as saying that the suspension or termination of the relationship with our Russian partner city should not be the city's response to the special operation in Ukraine. The term special operation is the crux and ammunition of the invasion. It is a term that is used to lie to and rally Russians to carry out acts of terrorism and genocide. It has been the framework building for years prior to the invasion. So the relationship as the last channel of communication to isolated Russians is not positively influential. It is being exploited and used to help craft deadly propaganda. 3.
Tracy, I'm so sorry to interrupt. It looks like you might have meant to share your screen. Is that true?
Well, yes, and I had thought I'd asked that it was being shared, and I heard a yes. Is it not?
Yeah, I think we were confused because we can see your picture, but I think what we can do is go ahead and have you share your screen now, and then we can make sure that your slides are shared with council after your testimony.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can see it now, I hope.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the third reason that was provided is that these are people-to-people endeavors. Well, the same Habara city government official that visited Portland in June of 2014 curated the March event between Portland and Habarovsk. He was then quoted in a Habarovsk newspaper stating, Portland ignored President Zelensky's call to cut sister city ties and referenced the March Bridge event as evidence of Portland's support, suggesting Russia is not isolated. Eugene recognized this and cut their ties, stating the original purpose of it being people to people isn't happening. It's vital that Portland suspend its sister city relationship with Habarovsk. And I want to emphasize, legitimate person-to-person relationships are not in question nor discouraged. The official sister city relationship between the cities are. Knowing what we know, how do you reconcile maintaining this relationship, knowing the consequences that come at the cost of Ukrainian lives, language, and culture?
Does that complete your testimony?
Well, it does. I got thrown there a bit on the whole screen share thing, but yes. There, I will say, the presentation that I have submitted to you, it is much more in depth. It goes through a lot, and it has the resources where the information lies on this. So yes, in my time frame that I have, yes, this is it. Thank you.
Okay, and Tracy, we have the presentation and we will look at it. Let me just give you my thoughts, and we're going to hear more about this later in the meeting today because we have our annual report coming up today on our sister city relationships. This is not cut and dry. And so here's where I have landed on this after careful consideration. Number one, let's start with where my personal view is on the dictator, war criminal who currently leads Russia. He needs to be taken out. Mm-hmm. He is an affront to civilization. He is a war criminal, and he is costing the lives of tens of thousands of people. And he should be removed through whatever means necessary. I hope I'm clear on that. And if I suddenly fall out of a 6th floor window in the coming weeks, you'll know what happened. But I have the freedom to say that because there are people in Russia who believe that, but they don't have the same freedom I do to be able to say that. And I believe at my core that these sister city relationships are vital. The whole reason why they were created in the first place was to circumnavigate the government-to-government posturing, politics, and warfare, and create ties between people to share educational and cultural opportunities and, where possible, economic opportunities. The theory being that if civilizations, if countries have these personal, meaningful ties, they are less likely to engage in political and military conflict. Now, in this case, we obviously side with Ukraine. We have, in fact, had a public proclamation making this city council's position very clear on this. It's also been made very clear to me that there are people who are Russian here in our community who share the viewpoint that I just personally expressed. And by the way, I'm not expressing this on behalf of the city or the city council. I'm just telling you my view, that the sooner Putin is removed, the better for the entire world. He is not a contributor to global peace or stability. He is the opposite, and he is a war criminal. So, you know, I will continue to be of the opinion that we need to maintain these person-to-person contacts, especially in times of conflict. And I hope in Russia that, yes, you know, that there is always the risk of propagandizing our decisions, but I also hope there is a message that gets to the people of Russia, which is that we support those who oppose Putin within Russia. And whereas they may not have a voice in their own country, we have a voice here, and we have a moral obligation to use it. And so I have decided personally, I will continue to support the sister city relationships.
May I comment on that?
You may, but I want you to know this is my personal view.
Yeah, I understand, and I appreciate you
you.
expressing that. My guess, my concern or my follow-up to that is, in no way is this a recommendation that we cut ties with person to person. I hope I was clear on that. It is not discouraged nor questioned. But when they're quoting Portland officials as calling this a special operation and using that and plastering it all over, that's pretty deadly. And I know, I mean, listen, I don't know this, but I seriously doubt a Portland official called it a special operation.
No, of course not. And they're
Right?
going to use propaganda regardless of what we do. That's what dictators do. He is a totalitarian dictator war criminal,
Right.
and he
But
will
when they
use
can-
whatever means is necessary and paint whatever picture he needs to
Exactly.
paint in order to maintain his grip on
But when
power
they
over the Russian
specifically
people.
tie it, when they specifically refer to the sister city relationships and point to those. So what we're saying is, don't have that relationship, continue the people to people. That's encouraged, that's not discouraged. But pull ourselves out of a situation where we can actually be used as we are in deadly propaganda. And we know that there is government officials involved. We know that.
Right.
So
Okay. So
that's
I think we've painted both sides of this very clearly, and I appreciate you being here and giving this presentation, and also giving me an opportunity to give my perspective, maybe the opposite perspective on this. And that's the conflict, right? It's trying to do the right thing by the people while not signaling support to the government. And I hope that, I doubt, dictator Putin listens to Portland City Council meetings, but if he did, I don't think there's any question about where I stand with regard to his position in the world and where I hope he ends up in the not too distant future. Thank you for your testimony this morning. And that completes communications this morning. Have any items been pulled off the consent agenda?
We've had two items, 800 and 805.
800 and 805, you say?
That's correct.
And 805. Please call the roll on the remainder of the consent agenda.
Hardesty,
Aye.
Maps,
Aye.
Rubio,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. Consent agenda is adopted. First time certain item, please, item number 794.
Amend operating agreement with RIP City Management LLC for Veterans Memorial Coliseum to extend term to October 11, 2025.
And now for something completely different, as Commissioner Fritz used to say. I'm pleased to introduce this item and welcome Chris Ockley from the RIP City Management and the Portland Trail Blazers to City Hall. It's always great to see you, both of you gentlemen. This ordinance would extend the current Veterans Memorial Coliseum operating agreement and continue the city's long partnership with RIP City Management. This, I believe, very productive and mutually beneficial relationship. It dates back all the way back to the 1990s, and it's resulted in the creation of countless memories for countless visitors to the Veterans Memorial Coliseum over the years. Fortunately, mostly memories of wins. Thank you. RIP City Management and the management of the Veterans Memorial Coliseum positively has impacted the economy of the city in this region as thousands of events have been held and many hundreds of jobs have been sustained over the years. With that, I'll turn this over to Carl Lyle. He'll give us the overview of the current operating agreement, and then we'll hear from Chris. Good morning.
Great. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Carl Lyle, Office of Management and Finance with the Spectator Venues and Visitors Activities Program. So the ordinance before you today will authorize the city's Chief Administrative Officer to sign the 8th Amendment to the Coliseum Operating Agreement with RIP City Management. This amendment will extend the term of the agreement from its current termination date of June 30th, 2023 to a new termination date of October 11th, 2025. Several other Rose Quarter agreements, including the Arena Ground Lease, which sets the terms for lease of the city-owned land under the Moda Center, and other Rose Quarter buildings, are set to come to the end of their current terms on October 11th, 2025, hence that date. RIP City Management currently operates the entire campus, including both arenas, the Coliseum and the Moda Center, as well as other buildings. Extending the Coliseum operating agreement to be coterminous with the arena ground lease allows combined operations to continue to that later date and provides time for a more comprehensive discussion about the future of the Rose Quarter with the operators, including both operations of the arenas and possible renovations to the campus or arenas. The amendment also establishes additional extension terms that become available to Rip City management only if the arena ground lease is extended. These extensions require the city's acceptance as well as Rip City management's acceptance of them. Beyond the term extension, all the financial terms of the Coliseum operating agreement remain unchanged with this amendment, and approval will continue the existing obligations and revenue sharing provisions under the current agreement. This operating agreement may normally be amended administratively by the Chief Administrative Officer. However, that can only happen as long as the amendment does not significantly alter the city's financial obligations. And in this case, although financial terms of the operating agreement remain unchanged from how they have been for 30 years, City Council authorization is required because it extends the existing financial commitments for a period of 2 years and 3 months and a few days, which constitutes, per the city attorneys, an additional financial commitment. So we're not changing anything, but we are extending the current terms. This non-emergency ordinance will pass to second reading next week, and I'll now turn it over to Chris Oxley, Senior Vice President with Rip City Management and the Portland Trailblazers, to talk about the business of operating the Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
Well, good morning, Mayor Wheeler, members of council. Appreciate you taking some time with us today. This is an important issue, but more importantly, an important relationship for us. It has, to your point, been a very productive relationship that we have with Office of Management and Finance in the city. We're proud stewards of the Coliseum. It's an interesting issue in that most buildings, frankly, when a new arena gets built, the prior arena goes away. It's a Portland way, in some respect, to hold that building up in many fashions, particularly as a veterans memorial and as an architectural gem and sitting on the National Historic Registry. And so we're pleased that it, after a lot of years of contemplation about the future of the Coliseum, that it continues to serve this community as a spectator facility venue. These are hard buildings to get built, and they serve us really well as places of experience. We hold ourselves up as providing experiences that people remember the rest of their lives, whether it's the Trailblazer history, whether it's the long-standing relationship with the Portland Winterhawks, and that they're now a franchise tenant of the Coliseum exclusively, going back even to where you graduated high school. And I talk to a lot of students and folks around our community and say, well, your parents remember that. You might not, but your parents remember that, and it's something they'll cherish the rest of your lives. And so without these venues and opportunity to provide the community these gathering places, we're left without opportunities. And so we're pleased to be stewards of the Coliseum. It's been a successful relationship. We want to continue that on. This will provide us additional opportunities down the road as we think about future tenants and future opportunities, whether it be a prospective WNBA franchise. We recently, and thank you, Mayor Wheeler, for joining the Women's Final Four visit. That was an opportunity that we're going to look to in November and hopefully solidify that for our city and in support of women's athletics. And having the Coliseum, frankly, next door was a major was a defining asset that most cities don't enjoy. And so being able to say, okay, we're going to play our games in the Moda Center, but also then be able to utilize the Coliseum as a community asset, as for community games, for kids games, celebrating women's sports, celebrating the game of basketball, and then the corresponding efforts to host events within the convention center really showcases our city as a major destination, as a world-class city, as a sports city. And so we're pleased and relish the opportunity to continue this relationship, because for us, this is about what the future presents, not necessarily the past. And so with that, we're open to any questions or concerns from council regarding this action, but we appreciate your time on this one today.
Great. Thank you both. Colleagues, any questions? Commissioner Ryan, did you have a question?
Sure, I'll
Comment about basketball? I bet you do.
try to be careful. I'm just glad you're both here. And I think the question I want to put out is, you mentioned that this is a 2-year extension, but then there's a lot coming up in 2 years.
Right.
So this feels like a precursor to something much bigger. Would you give us a little bit of a tease on what we need to think about as elected officials when we look 2 years ahead?
Certainly. Yeah. A lot of related agreements to the Rose Quarter, a lot of opportunity for us to continue our partnership down the road. This is one of, I think, 16 related agreements between the city and Rip City Management related to the operation of the Rose Quarter. We're looking forward to getting this one done. It solidifies, again, our opportunity to go out and gain traction on a lot of these events that are in the pipeline. We're doing really well from an events perspective and bringing people back to downtown now, but we're always thinking about the future. I think this is one that we can kind of take off the table and have solidified. We've thought about that. I think at a pretty strategic level between us and the city as to how the Coliseum can continue to be an asset to the relationship, and then start working on the ground lease and all of those other related agreements and how that Trailblazer, Rip City Management, and city partnership can continue. We look to start those discussions in January, and we're thrilled and ready and see opportunity ahead. So this is kind of the opening of what we believe to be a more robust conversation about the future of the Rose Quarter.
Chris and Carl, I think I'll just end with one follow-up, and that is, thank you, first of all, for framing where we're going, because we know we're just barely diving into this topic today. Yep. And so I think what I wanted to just say is basically thanks for that openness. I lost my train of thought on what my next question was, and I don't want to, I'm going to remember it, and Commissioner Hardesty has her hand, or at least I feel like your
We'll
hand's
come
up.
back to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you both for the presentation. I actually don't have any questions. I just wanted to put on a public record how much I appreciate the briefing and that we had prior to the city council meeting, and how grateful I am that you also understand that other than sports, a lot will be happening in that geographic area. And so I am very grateful that you are mindful that we have an opportunity to actually create almost a brand new mini city in that area. And I look forward to working with you and your leadership and management team to make sure that we all are working towards a common goal. So I am very grateful that you're here today and that we had that conversation before we got here. Otherwise, I'd have had a whole lot more questions. So thank you very much.
That's great.
That's it. And it was before Commissioner Hardesty spoke. I remembered it was about, we had a work session with Albina Vision Trust.
Yep.
And I did insert questions about their engagement with the entertainment district, with the Portland Trailblazers, Rip City Management. Right. And I got a little bit of response, but I just want to hear, are you actively a part of that table? And does the Vision Trust see this entertainment district as a part of its vision? I couldn't totally tell in the work session.
Yeah, the AVT has evolved pretty substantially over time. I will say that I was at the table for the origins of Albina Vision Trust before it was AVT. We were very open to the conversation and consider ourselves stakeholders in what we thought was a very good process that led to the vision that is today. And so I think we're aligned in many ways. That said, there's a lot of work to do. And when we think about particularly, I-5 and the concerns and issues that project might bring to our neighborhood, we're committed to that alignment with the hybrid 3 model and the capping of I-5. We just got to make sure that we're actually still able to execute our transportation management plan in an effective way. And I don't think that's counter to Albina or the work of ODOT. It's just being at the table and being able to have those conversations. And so the one piece I come back to more than anything, and as the Rose Quarter was constructed, or Interstate Avenue, or I-5, or Emmanuel Hospital, a Veterans Memorial Coliseum, we've got to get back to reconnecting that part of our city into the framework of the city. And it's a bit of an island now, for many reasons. I think if there was one piece of alignment that we have with Albina Vision Trust that probably holds up the equity in that relationship is that common commitment towards reconnecting this area. And that is one that we will be steadfast in partnership with AVT and ODOT and PBOT and everybody else that wants to be part of, that conversation. We're not just a basketball team. We're stakeholders in this community, 35 years of ownership, 52 years of this franchise in the city. We will step out of our comfort zone from time to time to make sure that the types of issues that AVT brings or any of these public works projects or development projects are in alignment with what we're trying to do in our success, but also to the benefit of the city.
Thank you, Chris. That's the dialogue I wanted to see on the dais this morning. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
Do we have any public testimony on this non-emergency ordinance?
No one signed up.
All right, very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate this is first reading of the non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the second time certain item number 795, please.
Proclaim September 15th to October 15th, 2022 to be Latinx Heritage Month.
Today, colleagues, we have the privilege of proclaiming the month of September 15th to October 15th, 2022 to be Latinx Heritage Month. I'd like to invite Commissioner Rubio to speak on the proclamation. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Today, I'm here in deep appreciation of the times that we're in and also the significance of this moment. And it's deeply personal for me. I've shared on many occasions about my own family's story, immigrant story, and how my experiences and my identity and culture and my family very much directly led me to the path that I'm on today. And all of these things have helped shape my identity as a Chicana and Latine, Oregonian and Portlander, and it's how I show up every day. Last year, I also talked about how inspired I was by the incredible support and connection that Latinx PDX provides. It provides that very same thing, that affirmation of culture and identity and shared experience. And we appreciate this organization being and bringing community together so much because communities are often spaces where we're the only one or one of very few, and there's a lot of comfort and shared understanding in those spaces together and working on behalf of communities in order for all of our communities to thrive. And while we shouldn't need 1 month a year to celebrate our culture and our identity, we can honor the contributions of our communities to the city and country and through the stories of our familia, of our elders and our parents, our friends, by taking pride in our culture and also by working to ensure that our communities are seen and are thriving and are engaged. And all of these reasons are why it means so much today to again, be a part of the introducing of this Latinx Heritage Month proclamation. And so I want to acknowledge all the Latinx employees that are here today, and it's great to see you all in this space. It's very affirming, and our city looks like you, and we're here, and this is why representation matters, and I'm so proud to see you all here today, and also to see the work that you do is alive and underway in our city. So thank you for putting this together and for the planning committee and all that's involved and for bringing this proclamation forward to council. So it's great to see you here today. So now I'll stop talking and I'll turn it over to Ana Maria and Lena to get us started.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council, for helping us celebrate today. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for sponsoring this proclamation. My name is Lena Gonzalez, and I am joined today by Ana Maria Perez, and we are here this morning representing the Latinx PDX Affinity Group. The Latinx PDX Affinity Group is a City of Portland employee affinity group with over 100 members. We have members whose heritage is from all over the world and who speak many languages. We are committed to developing a Latinx professional network in order to promote professional advancement and mentoring, opportunities for all Latinx city employees as we help recruit Latinos for employment. Latinx PDX advocates for strengthening community inclusiveness through public outreach towards policies, plans, and investments, and highlight contributions made by the Latinx culture. Annually, we bring this proclamation forward to celebrate our various cultures and to highlight the benefits our communities bring to Portland. And now I'd like to invite Ana Maria to deliver our remaining remarks.
Thank you, Lena, and thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Ana Maria Perez. My pronouns are she, her. And so continuing our remarks, while many like to celebrate our food, music, and even the beautiful lands we descend from, we are proud of all of these beautiful parts of our culture, but our contributions to civic society are much more than that. We are engineers, analysts, coordinators, attorneys, administrators, policymakers, and advisors, ecologists, managers, supervisors, and elected officials. And that's just at the City of Portland. We are an economic engine in our region through small businesses and running major corporations. Our community took a big hit during the pandemic, and while we are supporting each other during the bounce back, we have seen an unsettling amount of folks leave good-paying family wage jobs, especially caregivers and especially women. Latinas at the city left their jobs in larger numbers than any other demographic. In fact, in the last 5 years, we've seen a 10% drop in Latina City of Portland employees when looking at the updated demographic dashboard sponsored by the Office of Equity and Human Rights. We love working at the city because we believe we have direct impact and influence on our community. We want to bring more linguistically and culturally diverse people to work at the city because in doing so, we are serving parts of our population who otherwise cannot or have not been able to communicate with their local government. We want to bring more racially diverse folks to work along our side and contribute to making Portland a better place for all of us. And then if you identify as Latinx or Hispanic, Latino, Latina, any of the terms, and you'd like to join our affinity group, please reach out via the City Deep Affinity Group page and email our team, and we'll add you to our list with open arms. So thank you again, City Council, for celebrating with us today.
Is that all?
And yes, that's the end of our remarks, and now I believe we're. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you both.
you.
Colleagues, I'll entertain any comments before I read the proclamation. Commissioner Mapps?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Colleagues, I am delighted to join you in proclaiming September 15th to October 15th, 2022 to be Latinx Heritage Month. Portland has celebrated Latinx Heritage Month for nearly 2 decades. We begin the celebration on September 15th because that is a day of independence for many formerly colonized nations in Latin America. Now, a lot of us realize that Oregon's Latinx heritage runs deep. In fact, until 1848, Oregon and Mexico were neighbors. California only became part of the United States as a result of the Mexican-American War, which ended in 1848. Before that date, Oregon's southern border was also Mexico's northern border. And Oregon and Mexico share a lot more than just a border. We share a common heritage. People of Latinx heritage first appeared in Oregon's census records in 1850. Today, 14% of Oregonians claim Latinx heritage. Our Latino ancestors helped build the Portland that we know and love today, which is why I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank Portland's Latinx community for their contributions to our community. In particular, I'd like to thank Latinx PDX for bringing this proclamation to City Council today and for all the work that you do on behalf of our city. I would also like to recognize my policy advisors, Michelle Rodriguez and Goldan Salazar, for their work work on this year's Latinx Heritage Month celebration. And finally, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Rubio for her efforts to uplift the Latinx community and whose presence on this council provides hope to the Latinx children of Portland who see themselves reflected in her. Thank you.
Very good. First of all, colleagues, it's important that we honor and recognize. Oh, Commissioner Ryan, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, I just want to thank Commissioner Rubio. It's for bringing your life experience to the dais and just how vulnerable and open you are in general. I've been knowing you for almost 30 years, and it's one of my life's better gifts. You have this passion, you have integrity, and definitely a steady collaborative spirit. And it's really one reason why this team up here is functioning much better than, well, I'll just say, it functions better than when I got here when I first arrived. And I think that Commissioner Rubio and the style and the integrity that she brings is something I just want to lift at this moment, because she is our first Latinx elected official on the City Council. I want to thank both of you for being here today. It's so wonderful to finally have in-person moments. And I also want to acknowledge that, I don't know why it was lost on me. I always thought it was September, but it's September 15th into October 15th. That's brilliant. But could someone just tell me, has that been a thing for a long time and I just finally noticed? I'm sure that's true. But is there a story?
Well, so it's because
Besides really smart that you.
I've read
yeah.
some things that it's, like Commissioner Maps referenced, that many of the independence days of colonized countries in Latin America have their independence in the middle of September. And kind of with Labor Day at the beginning of the month, we decided to skip all that and start right when our celebrations begin, and just continue for a full month into October.
Nice. Well, thank you. I also want to take a moment to just pause and be grateful for several members of my team who identify as Latinas. Chief of Staff Kelly Torres, my Senior Policy Advisor Karen Gillian Chapman, and our city's Homelessness Strategies Manager Charity Montez. Their dedication and counsel to me is just so invaluable. And I think what's most important is you get to know their families. And so with Karen, she brought her kiddos in for Costa Rican Independence Day celebration the other week, and Charity stories about her grandparents. She actually shared that on Think Out Loud last week, and that was, I think, very compelling about the journey for many people when they come to this country. And I'm just so privileged to work with those three professionals every day. And since you're representing the affinity group, I wanted to let you know it's in all of our offices as well and how important that is. I also want to just finally say on a personal level, I just married the love of my life, and their name is Almo Reyes. And our marriage adds definitely I have a bigger Latinx presence in my life because there's many relatives, new family members, and mostly from Vegas. And we all know that Chicanas and Chicanos built Las Vegas. And so it's just great to have that element in my own personal life now. So anyway, happy Latinx Heritage Month, and thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for bringing this proclamation forward. Happy Latinx Month to all the Latinx community members and all others who are listening in on this conversation. It's kind of an interesting, ironic kind of day. We started the morning off talking about Native Americans and boarding schools. And we're now talking about the legacy and the heritage of the Latinx community. And I will say, Commissioner Rubio started with representation matters. And not only does representation matter, representation is critical, because many of the issues that this council addresses today, we would never have addressed without representation. And so I just want you to know that it troubles me that even in 2022, African Americans and Latinx people do not find a safe, welcoming workplace at the city of Portland. And we have an obligation to fix that. So it hurts my soul to know, you said 10% Latinx, 40% African Americans left during COVID, and it doesn't seem to be intellectual curiosity to find out why we are losing people of color in a city that is billing itself as a preferred place to work. I want to honor Commissioner Rubio. She has been a wonderful partner. She's been a wonderful think partner. She's been a wonderful community partner, but we've only had that relationship for 35 plus years. So it didn't change because she now is on the Portland City Council. I want you to know that I am very grateful to Commissioner Rubio and her very thoughtful approach to so many issues that we are confronting with in this city. And I look forward to a long, productive work relationship. Happy Latinx month. And I hope, as Commissioner Rubio said, that this is not just a one-off that happens once a year, and then we put it back on the shelf until next year at this time. I'm hoping that our budgets will reflect, as we start discussing budgets, where we say our priorities are. So I'll be looking forward to reviewing the upcoming budget process. Happy Latinx Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mapps, did you have another?
Yes, I just have a brief comment which I neglected to mention during my comments. I just wanted to remind all Portland City employees that there will be a celebration over in the Portland building right now. In the Lizzie Weeks room, I believe there's coffee and Mexican pastries available. So if you're around and can hear my voice, I encourage you to go over and help celebrate this important day. Thank you.
Very good, colleagues. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Rubio. I want to share my colleagues' thanks for your leadership. You're often put in a difficult position, and I also want to acknowledge that. And so thank you for your sage leadership, not only being a good representative of the Latinx community, but also just being a fantastic representative for all of the people of this city. You navigate it well. Thank you for your considerable leadership. And that goes for the time before you served on the city council. You've had a long and distinguished record of community service, and I want to acknowledge that as well. I also want to underscore what Commissioner Mapps just said. I wanted to invite everyone to the Latinx celebration. It is taking place right this minute, and colleagues, they're listening to us. So we should absolutely
Well, they
sing.
are.
They are.
We're live streaming
And
it
so
there.
I want to give a
streaming.
shout out to all of our public employees. Look, this has been a challenging time for our public employees, and a celebration is really the least that we can do. But we're glad to have you with us, at least virtually. Thank you for your continued leadership and the hard work you do on behalf of everybody in this community. I'm really grateful that we're here today to celebrate what I think is one of the most vibrant parts of our city. At nearly 10% of the city's population, the Latinx community is a significant part of our economic, of our social, and our cultural fabric, and it becomes more important by the day. I'd like to offer a special thanks to the Latinx PDX City Employee Affinity Group and to especially Lena Gonzalez-Baird and Anna Maria. Thank you for your considerable leadership. And I want to thank you for helping to, in fact, for drafting this proclamation that I now have the honor of reading on behalf of the entire Portland City Council. Whereas for over 50 years, Latinx Heritage Month has been celebrated nationwide from September 15th to October 15th to honor and recognize the diverse Latinx cultures who bring a rich combination of language and cultural histories. And whereas Latinx Heritage Month is held in recognition of the significance of September 15th because it's the anniversary of independence for Latin American countries Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. And Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and 18th, respectively. And whereas Portland community members, a vibrant and thriving community, self-identify as Latinx, Latina, Latino, Latina, Hispanic, Chicano, Chicana, Indigenous, Africa Latinos, or with their country of origin and heritage. And whereas the rich tapestry of Latinx culture is multiracial, multicultural, and multilingual. And whereas many Latinx people trace their roots to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, European settler colonists, Africans who were kidnapped, trafficked, and enslaved in the Americas, and Asians who immigrated to the Americas. And whereas the Latinx population, representing the largest ethnic minority in the United States, celebrates the histories, cultures, and contributions of people who trace their ancestors to the Caribbean, Central America, North America, South America, and indeed all over the world. And whereas we celebrate the diversity of all who identify under the Latinx umbrella. And whereas the Latinx community has been integral to and have participated in the creation of this nation for generations, well before its founding, even as they have grappled with relative invisibility, outright rejection of their place in society, and internal struggles about their own identity in this country. And whereas Latinx people, along with Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities, are part of the essential workforce that continues to keep our city and nation operating. They drive our economy as workers, owners, and entrepreneurs. They're the force of social and political change as advocates, activists, and elected officials. They innovate as teachers, scientists, and engineers. They enrich the arts as artisans, musicians, poets, storytellers, actors, and directors. They ensure our health and basic human needs as grocery store workers, truck drivers, agricultural workers, day laborers, sanitation workers, child care providers, caretakers, nurses, doctors, and so many more. And whereas, to help connect more Latinx people to city jobs and to support them throughout their careers with the city, the Latinx PDX City Employee Affinity Group was reestablished in 2014. Latinx PDX has reached over 100 employees and continues to grow. And whereas Latinx PDX City employees stand in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities, and all marginalized groups who face discrimination and underrepresentation in our city as well as globally. And whereas Latinx PDX city employees are committed to continue working in unity with our respective bureaus and colleagues citywide to dismantle the systems of oppression that make civic engagement and participation difficult for Black people, Indigenous peoples, and all communities of color. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim September 15th to October 15th, 2022 to be Latinx Heritage Month and encourage all residents to observe this month. I'd like to now pass this to Commissioner Rubio, who will read the proclamation in Spanish. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you. It's my honor to read it in Spanish to the very best of my ability. Considerando durante más de 50 años de la herencia Latinx, se ha celebrado en todo el país del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre para honrar y reconocer las diversas culturas Latinx que aportan una rica combinación de idiomas y historias culturales, y considerando el mes de la herencia Latinx se lleva en reconocimiento a la importancia del 15 de septiembre porque es el aniversario de la independencia de los países latinoamericanos, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras y Nicaragua. México y Chile celebran sus días de independencia el 16 y 18 de septiembre, respectivamente, y considerando que los miembros de la comunidad de Portland se identifican a sí mismos como Latinx, Latiné, Latino, Latina, Hispano, Hispana, Chicano, Chicana, Indígena o con su país de origen o ascendencia, y considerando que el tapiz de la cultura Latinx es multirracial, multicultural y multilingüe, y considerando que muchas personas Latinx tienen sus raíces en los pueblos indígenas de las Américas, pobladores colonizadores, y europeos, africanos que fueron secuestrados, traficados y esclavizados en las Américas, y asiáticos que emigraron a las Américas. Y considerando la población Latinx representa el grupo étnico minoritario más grande en los Estados Unidos, celebra la historia, culturas y contribuciones de personas que tienen sus raíces en el Caribe, América Central, Norteamérica, Sudamérica y por todo el mundo. Y considerando, celebramos la diversidad de todos los que se identifican bajo la amplia categoría de Latinx, y considerando que la comunidad Latinx ha sido integral al progreso de los Estados Unidos por generaciones, aun cuando esta comunidad ha enfrentado invisibilidad, rechazo de su lugar en nuestra sociedad y luchas internas sobre su propia identidad en este país. Y considerando que las personas Latinx, junto con las comunidades negras, indígenas y gente de color, son parte de la fuerza de trabajo esencial que mantiene funcionando a nuestra ciudad y nación. Ellas impulsan la economía como trabajadores, propietarios y empresarios. Ellas son la fuerza de cambio social y político como defensores, activistas y funcionarios elegidos. Ellas crean innovaciones como maestros, científicos e ingenieros. Ellas enriquecen las artes como poetas, narradores orales, actores y directores. Ellas aseguran nuestras necesidades básicas de salud como empleados de supermercados, choferes de camiones, trabajadores agrícolas, jornaleros, trabajadores sanitarios, proveedores de cuidado de niños, ciudadanos personales, enfermeros, doctores y muchos otros. Y considerando para ayudar a conectar a más personas Latinx a trabajos en la ciudad y para apoyarlos por este proceso durante sus carreras con la ciudad, el grupo de afinidad Latinx de la ciudad de Portland fue reestablecido en el 2014. Conocido como Latinx PDX, ha aumentado a más de 100 empleados y continúa aumentando. Y considerando Latinx PDX se unen en solidaridad con las comunidades que se identifican como miembros de más comunidades negra, indígena, personas de color y cualquier otro grupo marginalizado que lucha contra la discriminación y falta de representación en nuestra ciudad y globalmente. Y considerando que los empleos de la ciudad de Latinx PDX se unen en solidaridad con las comunidades de personas negras, indígenas y gente de color y los grupos marginalizados que enfrentan discriminación y poca representación en nuestra ciudad. Los empleados de la ciudad de Latinx PDX se comprometen a trabajar unidos con nuestras agencias para desmantelar los sistemas de opresión y racismo que hacen que el compromiso y participación cívica sea difícil para la comunidad BIPOC. Y ahora, por lo tanto, que yo, Ted Wheeler, alcalde de la ciudad de Portland, Oregon, por medio de la presente, proclamo que del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del 2022, mes de la gerencia Latinx. Y yo aliento a todos los residentes a aprender, reflexionar y celebrar las contribuciones históricas y presentes que las personas Latinx hacen en nuestra comunidad.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Well done. Thank you. And we've had a request for a photo So if we could, colleagues, just get in front here with anybody who'd like to join us in front, we'd appreciate that. Keelan, can we keep the video rolling but mute the mics while we're doing that? Thank you. A non-emergency ordinance, please. Where's Commissioner Hardesty? We need Commissioner Hardesty. Hang on. Where'd she go? There she is. All right, 796, a non-emergency ordinance.
Authorize application to the State of Oregon through the Higher Education Coordinating Commission for a grant in the amount of $500,000 to develop an emergency medical technician certificate program for individuals from underserved communities.
Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for, I am happy to present this item to this council today. Before I read my prepared remarks, I just want to take a moment and really appreciate Fire Chief Sarah Boone, who I will say has been the most innovative leader that I have seen in some time. Normally, governments think that all the money comes from us, but this is probably the 4th or 5th grant proposal in my time managing Portland Fire and Rescue, where the innovation, the visionary thinking, the thoughtfulness of how we build programs that are sustainable for the long haul are led by our fabulous fire chief, Sarah Boone. She's got a great leadership team that works with her, but leadership starts at the top, and I want to take this opportunity to really appreciate just the incredible visionary leadership that has come out of fire in my 3 years and 9 months on this job. Thank you, Chief Boone. Now I'll go to my originally prepared comments. Now that I've embarrassed her, I'll give her a chance to recover before she reads her remarks, because most of my bureau directors don't like me saying nice things about them. So, Portland Fire and Rescue is applying for a competitive workforce ready grant. The opportunity is a part of the Future Ready Oregon 2022 initiative introduced by Governor Kate Brown. The goal of this grant is to advance workforce opportunities for historically underserved communities, specifically prioritizing key populations, including women, people with low incomes, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, veterans, members of Oregon's non-federally recognized Indian tribes, and individuals who would self-identify as members of the LGBTQ+ community. This grant opportunities provides individuals, organizations, and service providers resources and support to remove barriers and improve access to workforce systems, and connecting key populations to job training, employment, and career advancement opportunities. I will hand off this presentation to Chief Boone and Community Health Administrator, who's also a pretty fabulous leader in Portland Fire and Rescue, Lisa Reslot, to discuss the grant opportunity. Take it away, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardesty. Mayor Wheeler, Council, my name is Sarah Boone, Fire Chief for Portland Fire and Rescue. And I just have to say, with the Latin Heritage Day and the Proclamation, it is uplifting. And I think all of you know, anybody that comes from the city of Portland, and the values that we uphold, they are ingrained early on. And I think it's pivotal when it comes to the governor's Future Ready grant, that even though we are in a crisis when it comes to the healthcare system, the health sector, as well as emergency services and the Fire Bureau, we're going to build back through the community. And I can tell you, from the day I've stepped into this organization until the day I leave, I am proud to wear this uniform and represent the city of Portland. It is in my heart and in my soul, and you can't take it out, and I'm willing to die for it. So with that being said, what is important about this application, which has been approved, but it is the collectivism and the collaboration that we build and take this opportunity during a crisis to provide a future for the next generation, for community members that are really invested in government and service, because they will be taking care of us. This grant application is the first phase, and it's to have a workforce that reflects the community in which we serve. It's a workforce, even though we're in crisis, we know that there is a need for healthcare providers, EMTs, paramedics within the community. PFNR's overall strategic objective and project goal is to increase the number of our historically underrepresented and underserved employees by 10% in the next 5 years, approximately bringing on 70 individuals that represent the communities that make up the city of Portland and the region. Portland Fire and Rescue's plan with these grant funds is to build capacity within Portland Fire to prepare and train and retain a workforce that represents priority populations who identify and incorporate the lived experience of their communities who on a systemic level have been disadvantaged in the past. And yet through this grant will be prioritized to help care for the many diverse communities that live and work within the city of Portland. Before I turn it over, this isn't Portland Fire alone. I want to recognize Commissioner Hardesty as well as council, but for the commissioner in charge, we know we are aligned when it comes to uplifting those who are most vulnerable, those who are disenfranchised, and those that sit at the margin. We have a position and a platform and an opportunity in history to shape our future. And it was under your leadership of bringing public safety together and trying to collaborate and figure out a way that we can create programs and opportunities. That also led to the connection with Tiffany Penson under BHR, the Bureau of Human Resources, when it comes to people and cultural strategists. Tiffany was a pivotal connector with Portland Fire and PCC. Also, Janine Hull with Portland Community College, the Dean of Academic and Career Pathways for Healthcare Emergency Profession. So this is a coalition and a collaboration that has been months in the making when it comes to this grant. So I will now turn it over to Portland Fire's Community Health Administrator, Lisa Reslock.
Thank you, Chief. Mayor, Council, my name is Lisa Reslock. I'm the Deputy Community Health Administrator for Portland Fire and Rescue. And I'm going to speak to kind of an overview of what we're talking about here with the grant and the opportunity and really the intent. I think one of the things that's happening right now, not only in the city of Portland, but across our nation is, our country's recovering from the COVID pandemic, and I call it the climate, the post-COVID climate. Our workforce is not only in healthcare, some of you don't recognize this, but Portland Fire has the only bureau that has an extremely large pre-hospital healthcare workforce. And with that, the opportunities that abound for our workforce are tremendous. The funding opportunities are tremendous, but we recognize the city is limited in its funding. So Chief Boone, one of the things that she initiated when she became fire chief is that our bureau would evolve from a place of emergency response to one where preventative community health is fundamental to our mission. Because we know that when we work to serve our population, we're going to improve their health outcomes. And when we improve their health outcomes, they're going to have a better standard of living. They're going to call 911 less. Our BOAC dispatch center is going to have lower call volume. So when we get people on the streets that can meet the needs of the population, we're going to really impact change. So it's with that we really, when we pursued this grant, we wanted to be thoughtful and deliberate in our approach because we knew that recruiting for any type of workforce in today's climate would be complex and would require innovation and planning. So I kind of hesitated whether I was going to use this analogy, but I'm going to because it's real life. And we wanted to compare it to that of a gardener, right? If you're going to produce a harvest, you want to prepare the soil. You want to take time to put nutrients in the soil, you want to plant the seed, and you want to water the plant, and you want to have a harvest. And so in our preparing for this grant, we really wanted to be deliberate in our caring for the population and bringing non-traditional, underrepresented workers into the workforce so that they can have jobs and that we can train them and then we can retain them. So with that, we divided the grant, really the opportunity, into 3 parts. The initial part that we're talking about right now is the capacity grant. So the Future Ready grant is going to have future funding up to $200 million. The first phase is it's just for capacity building. And in that phase, we're recruiting 4 positions. And those 4 positions were asked, we requested $500,000 for a diversity strategist, an equity data analyst, and 2 recruiters. The goal of this team is to really go out and, like I said, prepare the soil. Really go out, work with the CBOs, work with the community colleges, work with the Latino group, work with everyone, right, to get a group of individuals, work with the stakeholders. And we want to recruit 100 student learners for this community EMT program. So the round 2 is that we want to have a Earn to Learn EMT program. And the Earn to Learn program would be an opportunity for an individual to receive all the education and training and be paid to go to school and also leave with an EMT certification that would allow them to work not only for Portland Fire and Rescue, but within any healthcare organization in the city if they chose to, or wherever they wanted to work. That's the second phase, and that's the round 2, and we're not going for that right now. That's the second phase. And the final phase is the retention phase for us. So following a successful completion of the EMT program, this project retention plan includes transitioning the new certified EMTs into one of multiple positions within the City of Portland, Portland Fire and Rescue, our community health programs, our chat programs, Portland Street Response, any programs that can get those individuals out on the street caring for people. I'm going to pass it back to Chief Boone to conclude.
Thank you, Lisa. I just want to reiterate, when we look at the state and where we are, not only as a fire agency, but also as a healthcare provider in the pre-hospital setting, we have, since the pandemic, we have been out front when it comes to how do we adapt, overcome, and innovate, and extend our services beyond our capacity. We are a general fund bureau, but it's something that we partner with Multnomah County when it came to vaccination testing, as well as mobile vaccinations. It is something that we worked with as well as with the county, and you've heard this before, when it came to medications on wheels, where we were able to deliver necessary prescription medications to the elderly, to the disabled, and veterans, as well as be able to work with emergency management and spin up a point of distribution when it came to vaccinating BIPOC communities, and today as well as vulnerable, and we've vaccinated over 30,000 community members. That's in addition to the emergency response when it comes to our firefighters, and that is the EMS side, not the prevention side, not the health side, but we are in a healthcare crisis today, and it is beyond the city as well as this fire bureau's staffing and budget to address and meet people where they are at. That is why we have Portland Street Response. That is why we have Community Health Assess and Treat. That is why we are also a third pillar when it comes to community outreach. That is the partnership with the stakeholders. But we also have to build capacity, which is what this grant is for. Through the state of Oregon, the Governor's Future Ready grant, and it is building capacity in order to develop a program with PCC, because the EMT basic, that is the last barrier to dismantling how people come in and work for the city. It's time we stop being at the margins and be out front to lead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief, and thank you so much, Health Officer. Is that your title? What's your official title? I was so used to calling you.
Just a community health administrator.
not just a community health administrator, I will say a superb community health administrator. Thank you both for your testimony. And I wanted to add one more thing before I turn it back over to you, Mayor. You know, I love when people think outside of the boxes. Like, so one example is Director Boone actually reached out to PCC because they do the EMT basic training. And we're going to now have firefighters actually providing that training with PCC as a partner so that we can make sure that as we are recruiting the next generation of both healthcare providers and firefighters within Portland Fire and Rescue, that we actually can expedite getting them through the process. As Chief Boone said, one of the biggest barriers to actually bringing more women and more Black, Indigenous, and other people of color into the Fire Bureau is these tests, is the basic EMT test. So that's one of the basic qualifications, and this will help a lot.
Thank you, Commissioner. And just a slight correction.
Okay.
We have to, we're hoping to be approved to, for the capacity grant.
Oh, yes,
which
yes.
we'll know in October, that we can build the team to
do the
to
training.
prioritize
Okay.
and really target and work with community-based organizations, nonprofits, NARA, NIA, as well as PCC. That is, then we have to go out for another grant when we build the program. And that, but that's where, as Lisa was saying, we are able to do that to where if we receive a grant, we can provide the education and the training in partnership with PCC. And if we are awarded the second phase of the grant, people from community, underrepresented, will be able to take the course and be paid for, which will open doors and
Yes.
opportunity in any field. And the last thing I will say, when we look at the state as firefighters across the state of Oregon, 80% is through volunteer fire districts, and the people come from the community. We're the largest urban metropolitan city within the state that has such a rich resource when it comes to the communities that make up the population. And so, again, this is an opportunity. 3,700 firefighters across the state, 1,200 can retire. We have to be out in front and develop this EMT basic program because the jobs are going to be there. They're going to be there. So.
Very good point. Thank you so much, Mayor. Turn it back over to you.
Very good.
No one signed up.
Okay. First of all, thank you both for being here. That was such an amazing presentation. And I think I heard the 3 phases, so we're in the first one. Congratulations. And then the second one, which is always exciting, is earn to learn. Was that your language? Yeah, that's accurate language.
Yeah.
And I know we've been building these systems in the trades as well, and it's so important. And so who are your is the main partner the community colleges in that endeavor and the community organizations to help recruit?
Yeah, so the main partners initially for the program is PCC,
Okay.
and then for the initial phase 1 is really working with all community-based organizations, and it's really doing kind of spreading the net with everybody we can get to in different organizations, and we don't really know all of them right now. We don't know all the people, and that's part of the capacity building, is that we learn who the people are that can get those populations that are really interested in coming to Portland to work for us.
And I was struck by your capacity building went beyond the city of Portland, which I thought was very honorable. That said, the third phase is focused on retention. Will that pivot more towards the city of Portland in the retention phase? Because that's where you have control and influence, if you will.
Absolutely, and it's, like I said before, Portland Fire and Rescue, we have our really 2 great community health programs. The CHAT program, which is the low acuity medical response we have in partnership with Care Oregon. We also have Portland Street Response. Those are both EMT heavy roles. And then we also have all of our emergency operations. So we have plenty of room, and like Chief Boone said, our goal is to increase our population, the diverse population, by 10% in the next 5 years. So that's going to be bringing on approximately 20 people, ideally, a year.
And have you considered going below the community college level and to the middle schools and high schools?
We actually did, we are considering that, and that is written into our initial grant, is really that ground, getting in on the ground level and then doing the educational process. And that, again, is one of the stakeholders. It's not just PCC, but the whole educational system.
I've always found the biggest canyon that's deep and wide is from finishing secondary high school into what's next. So I hope, good luck with that, and I'd love to have follow-up conversations with you about navigating those systems. Thanks.
Very good. This is the first reading of an emergency ordinance. This is the second reading. Colleagues, it is almost 11:30. We need to give our closed captioners a break. We'll take a 10-minute recess. We'll reconvene at 11:30.
Recording stopped.
Keelan, could you please read item number 797, time certain?
Authorize a letter of agreement between the city and the Portland Police Association to implement a police dispatch trainee certification pilot project by increasing the pace of certification for emergency communications dispatchers.
Colleagues, this ordinance would authorize a letter of agreement to increase BOEC's ability to address staffing shortages. For those out there in TV land, BOEC is our Bureau of Emergency Communications, commonly known as 911. I'll hand it over to Commissioner Mapps, who will introduce our presenters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colleagues, the item before us today would create a pilot program at the Bureau of Emergency Communications. This pilot program is designed to address the following problem. When Portlanders call 911, it takes too long for our BOEC call takers to pick up the phone. According to national standards, 90% of 911 calls should be answered within 15 seconds. Right now, Portlanders have to wait an average of 69 seconds for 911 to answer their emergency calls. That 54-second gap between how quickly we should answer our 911 calls and how long it actually takes for BOEC to answer 911 calls both cost lives and is overwhelmingly explained by three variables. The first variable is call volume. Over the past 3 years, the number of 911 calls fielded by BOEC has increased by 25%, so that today, BOEC answers about 500,000 911 calls a year. That's about 1 call a minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The second variable that explains long wait times at 911 is this. BOEC is understaffed. In order to answer 500,000 calls a year within 15 seconds, BOEC would need a staff of around 100 certified people. Currently, BOEC employs about 68 certified employees. The third variable contributing to long wait times at 911 is the interaction between high call volumes and being understaffed. In other words, BOEC is so understaffed, the Bureau struggles to train and onboard new 911 call takers. The pilot project before us today is designed to address these problems. This item would create a time-limited police dispatch trainee certification pilot project. This pilot project contains 2 key elements. First, we propose to boost overtime. Excuse me, folks, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to talk over the crosstalk. Can I just have a moment? Thank you. This pilot project contains 2 key elements.
Can we get some order, please, on the dais? Thank you. Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colleagues, this pilot project contains 2 key elements. First, we propose to boost overtime pay for BOEC call takers for the remainder of the fiscal year. This includes both voluntary and forced overtime. Second, this pilot would create a 3% coaching premium increase for BOEC staff who volunteer to train new call takers. This pilot project has 2 goals. First, we want to incentivize more employees to sign up for voluntary overtime in the hope that improved staffing levels will improve staffing levels in the hopes that improved staffing levels will improve the amount of training that we can provide to BOEC call takers and reduce the amount of time Portlanders spend waiting for 911. The purpose of the 3% coaching premium is to increase the number of coaching hours BOEC can provide, which in turn should allow the Bureau to onboard new staff members more quickly. Ultimately, by onboarding BOEC staff members more quickly, we should be able to reduce the amount of overtime 911 call takers are asked to work. This pilot project will not require any new funds. Instead, the Bureau will pay for these incentives within its current budget. I also want to say I'm firmly committed to evaluating the efficacy of this pilot project project. To this end, I will review the following metrics with BOIC management on a monthly basis. If this project is not working as intended, it may be canceled. The metrics we will follow include training hours provided, number of voluntary overtime hours worked, and the number of new coaches that are willing to train in all disciplines. And now to tell us more about this project, we have Anne-Marie Kevorkian-Matti with the Bureau of Labor Relations. Welcome, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, and good morning, Mayor and Commissioners.
Morning.
First, I'd just like to thank both the Mayor and Commissioner Mapps for their support moving forward what we know is a critical pilot program aimed at working to resolve the staffing crisis that is impacting BOIC. With me this morning is Lisa St. Helen, the BOIC Operations Manager, and we'd like to discuss some important highlights of this ordinance with all of you and then respond to any questions that you all may have. So first and foremost, I think it's important to say that BOIC provides a unique function of public safety as a first responder. They are the forefront of our city's public safety system, connecting with the community to assist them on their worst days while simultaneously keeping watch over our public safety responders in the field and providing them critically important details while they are en route and when they are on scene of incidents. This work cannot be contracted out. It requires a technical level of expertise and is not a skill set that can be learned quickly to provide a competent level of service. So in order to resolve long-term staffing needs, we must be forward thinking about what solutions can be put in place today to create a more efficient training pipeline. So with that in mind, we are asking Council for support to implement a police dispatch trainee certification pilot project to increase the pace of certifications for emergency communications dispatchers. And I'll say that the BHR Labor Relations does support and recommends moving forward with the pilot project, which again provides a 50% increase in the overtime rate to pay double time for all operational overtime hours. The goal here is to provide an incentive to increase daily staffing levels through overtime, which will allow for additional on-the-job training and provide existing and future dispatcher trainees more access to training with the goal of increasing certifications. The second piece is an increase to the current coach premium from 11 to 14% for full-time unencumbered coaches, providing training to employees in all disciplines, which includes 911 and non-emergency call taking, police dispatching, and fire dispatching. And the intent here is to increase the total number of coaches and to increase total coaching hours for on-the-job training. An increase in coaches and an increase in training hours does help move new employees through the training pipeline more efficiently, ultimately leading to additional fully certified staff. The duration of this pilot project will run through the end of the current fiscal year, so June 30th, 2023. And as mentioned by Commissioner Mapps, there is a termination clause embedded in this pilot program, which allows the Bureau to terminate the program with notice if metrics indicate that the pilot is not working as intended. And the Bureau and Commissioner will be working closely together to monitor this information on an ongoing basis. Further, the pilot is cost neutral and does not impact the general fund. So based on the fiscal analysis that was completed by both Community Safety Division and the City Budget Office, the pilot project costs are offset by vacancy savings. And further, in the event that the pilot exceeds the projected cost, the CBO has stated that BOIC has a significant fund balance to remedy costs and would likely not need to request compensation set aside resources in the spring bump. I'd like to give Lisa an opportunity to provide some additional Bureau perspective on the impacts of this pilot, and then we'd be happy to address any questions that you might have. So Lisa?
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Mayor, council members, my name is Lisa St. Helen. I'm the operations manager for the Bureau of Emergency Communications. I'd like to start today by recognizing our director, Bob Causey. I believe he was able to log in this morning, but he is away at a conference this week where a number of our staff are being recognized for their great work, but there is uncertainty about his connection. So I will be providing a brief statement, which will allow us to provide a bit of context about the staffing situation at BOIC.
In late 2016, BOEC had only 74 dispatchers, and at that time, we considered this to be a critical shortage. We were experiencing mandatory overtime hours at extremely high levels and an exhausted staff. To increase staffing as quickly as possible, BOEC increased our academies to 4 per year, and by the spring of 2019, we had 90 certified employees. Those 90 employees, allowed us to answer 911 calls within national standards 76% of the time. In the past 2 years, however, BOEC staffing has decreased by more than 22 certified employees. We have 68 certified staff right now, and we are now answering 911 calls within national standards only 29% of the time. As a result, many community members are having to wait several minutes before their 911 call is answered. In addition to the attrition over the past 2 years, our call load has increased by over 25%, and it is most certainly a combination of these two factors that have led us to where we are today. The negative impact that this has on our community members cannot be overstated, but neither can the impact that this has on our existing emergency dispatchers. The immense and the relentless workload contributes to the burnout of our current staff, many of whom have left or are looking for employment elsewhere due to this excessive workload. For context, in 2020, from January to December, we lost 11 employees during that time frame. In 2021, we lost 21 during that same time frame. And in the first 6 months of 2022, we have lost 14 employees, and we are on pace to clearly surpass last year. The good news is that we have the solution to this problem literally in our hands. We have nearly 30 trainees right now in the process of certification. However, because staffing is so low and because calls are holding for so long, their training is routinely being canceled so that we may augment the number of call takers we have to process the 911 calls. This has created significant congestion in our training pipeline. We continue to hire academies to get our staffing numbers higher, and we are finding success in that area. Yet we are at a point now where all of these new employees are moving into the end of a pipeline that is not moving forward. It is a vicious cyclical pattern that can be addressed only by certifying these trainees, by getting this pipeline moving. And that means that we need to find a way to stop canceling training. But what comes to you today, we're asking for your support in allowing us to pay double overtime for all dispatchers who work any overtime that will augment staffing. In addition, we wish to pay an additional 3% premium for coaches so that we may add to our coaching pool, which will increase our ability to provide training hours. The end goal, which I believe has been mentioned already, which is to stop the chronic cancellation of training. This will be relayed to our staff before the pilot project begins. It will be made clear that this will take their participation to make this pilot project a success. And as we monitor and we utilize metrics to ensure we are seeing the results needed to impact certifications, if we do not, the program will be stopped. I'd like to close by just stating that emergency dispatchers today are working significant amounts of mandatory overtime. They are dealing with a call load that is so high that they receive zero respite between these emergency calls. They are taking call to call to call. And the only answer in providing them respite and to providing even an adequate service level to the community is to find a way to get our existing and well-populated training pipeline moving again and to get our folks certified. So I thank you for your time, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thanks, Lisa. Commissioner Mapps has a comment.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I didn't get a chance to touch on this in my opening comments, but could you share with council how many hours of forced overtime BOEC staff have had to work over, let's say, the past 3 years, how that has changed year to year?
I do have the actual numbers. I will have to look them up very quickly, but I can tell you that they have gone up exponentially. I want to say 3 years ago, we might have been in the low hundreds per month of mandatory overtime. And today, I think we're in the 400 and 500 hours.
Yeah, at least.
I'll take that off the top of my head.
I'm absolutely, and Lisa, your memory is pretty good there. Colleagues, if we were to go back to 2019, 2020, I believe BOEC staff worked 719 hours of forced overtime. On the other hand, if you go to fiscal year 2020, 2021, BOEC staff worked 4,807 hours of forced overtime. Just a truly exponential increase. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that presentation. Lisa, I had a question for you. And I'm not sure, I have another question, but I'm not sure who to give it to today. Lisa, I was curious. You said you had 68 call takers. Is that correct?
We have 68 fully certified staff. That means they are certified in all disciplines: police, dispatch, fire dispatch, and call taking.
And Lisa, I am curious if you have actually looked at lateral hires for BOAC.
We have, and we do conduct lateral hires every time we have an external hiring process. We generally open up two, one for external folks that have experience, lateral hires, and then those who want to get into the profession for the first time.
Thank you. Am I to understand this proposal actually would pay anyone who worked overtime in BOAC double overtime, and then it would do something different for people who are forced to work overtime?
I think that's a good clarification. The answer is no. What this does specifically is it allows us to pay double overtime for employees who are willing to work operational overtime only, which means they are contributing to the workload on the floor. And that's for anybody, just police dispatcher, fire dispatcher, call taker, because that allows us to ensure more training is happening.
So I'm getting a little confused about what we're asking this council to support today in this pilot. So is the pilot to support people within BOAC who are being forced to work overtime, or is this for any employee who chooses to work overtime when overtime is available? I'm just a little confused by that.
Okay, it is for both. All overtime
That's what I want to do.
Contributes to the workload on the floor would be paid at double time, because we look at that as that is what we need to augment staffing so that we do not have to cancel training.
This may not be an appropriate question for you, Lisa, and I apologize if it isn't, but I remember us actually investing dollars into the 311 system that was supposed to then take, I don't want to quote a number, 250 to 300,000 calls off of the 911 system and send them, I'm sorry?
180.
180,000, something like that, right? Around 200,000 calls, right? If you're used to having 500,000 calls a year and we're going to take 200,000 off, then I'm just trying to figure out why this. I mean, I'm terrified about. Let me just say this: it's not you, Lisa. I am terrified with us having anything that pays double overtime, because every other union is going to be asking for double overtime right away. So I just want to put that on the record right now. That terrifies me. People were trying to bully me into doing that, and I would not do it. And so we need to be real clear as a council. What is it that we're doing? Because we still have lots of labor talk negotiations going on. So I just want to make sure that this doesn't become the standard by which we negotiate the next BOAC contract.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, I think I'll defer to you if you'd like to take that one on.
Yeah, I absolutely understand your concerns, Commissioner Hardesty, and I would tell you that I fully anticipate, just as I have for the past 17 years, negotiating both on behalf of the unions at BOEC and then also representing the city's interest here at BOEC and in labor relations, that we will receive proposals from BOEC's union in our successor negotiations that is going to ask for double overtime. That's an extremely consistent proposal that is, like I said, happened for nearly 2 decades. I don't expect it to be different. That
in my opinion, I don't think that should be the catalyst for not moving forward with change here today. We're in a unique situation, and while we're here frequently, which I will acknowledge, I do think that this challenge is different in that instead of having difficulty recruiting staff, now we're having difficulty getting them through the training program. So as Lisa mentioned, the resolution is already in the Bureau, right? So there are, Lisa, I can't recall the exact number of trainees, but I believe it's somewhere in the range of about 30 to 35 trainees in various states of learning and preparation for certification. And those employees will be extremely impactful upon their certification on the total workload of everyone in the Bureau that is doing that 911 dispatching work. So I hope that answers your question.
I have one last question, and I'll let my other colleagues get in. Thank you for that, Marie. I think that was really helpful. My question is, what are you measuring monthly to determine whether or not this should continue on? What's the matrix that you're measuring?
I think for BOOK, I think the largest matrix that I want to look at is I would like to see an increase in training hours provided. Currently, we do have a standard training hours that we would like to see provided to every dispatcher. And right now, where we'd like to see a late phase police dispatcher receive upwards of 12 to 16 hours in a week, at least, we're seeing them get to 4 or 6 hours. I'd like to see that increase to what it is we need to get them certified expediently.
And Mayor, I guess this is a question for you. I'm not quite sure who's going to give us an update on where the 311 rollout is. I know we put money in it. We're supposedly hired people, and supposedly that's supposed to make life better for all 911 call takers. Because that should be a part of this conversation about just what is the timeline under which that transition is taking place, and those calls are now being deferred.
Commissioner Mapps.
Actually, I can tell you, I am not the commissioner in charge of 311. I know they have stood up their staff, or at least some staff, and are taking phone calls. I can also tell you that according to the call volumes that we receive on a monthly basis, we have not reached the point where that is making a significant impact on how long Portlanders are having to wait for their 911 calls to be answered.
Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to start off by thanking Anne Marie and Lisa for being here today and explaining it's a tough conversation because we don't want to be here, but we are. I want to just take a moment to acknowledge the workers that are been forced to do overtime. And I can only imagine how stressful that's been on your lives and your families. So I just want to acknowledge you and that we see you. And so anyway, take a moment because I don't feel like we've lifted them enough. If I'm following the metrics right, I'm supportive of this, first of all, but I just want to understand the math a little bit better. So 90, we have 90, right, fully. What was the term that you used, Lisa?
We have 68 today. We have 68.
68, you had 90, that's right. So it went from 90 to 68. And then on meeting the federal guidelines, we went from 76% to 29. So just following those metrics. So that means we've gone down in FTE 24%, but we've gone down in federal standards by 62%. So, and I assume there's a way to explain that better than the numbers do. So could you give me some more explanations? My assumption is that call volumes have gone way up. So I just want to hear that so that we can have better stories in the narrative surrounding these numbers.
Yeah, I can make it short and sweet, and it's that the call volume has gone up. And I think when you combine the drastic increase in call volume that we have, when we say we have a 25% increase in call volume, that is a significant number. When you're talking on a daily call load or a monthly call load, that is a significant number when your staffing has dropped to the levels that what we have. When I was speaking earlier and I said that our folks are on the operations floor and they're taking call to call to call, I listen to them outside my office and they don't have a moment's breath between calls. These are not calls that they pick up manually. We have a system that when they are available, when they're done with their call, the next one rings in. They don't get a moment's respite for these 10 hours that they're working every day
and then forced for 2 more hours beyond that. So it's call volume, it's the lack of staffing.
Yeah, so that's why this is a short-term strategy. And I just think that it's hard to be here, and it's important that we continue to get these updates and, what is the long-term strategy to get our numbers back up. And I think we're dealing with this in a lot of our frontline systems, and then I think a lot of the public is let's see, they're challenged to understand why it takes so long. And I think that's something we try to explain, whether it's police, whether it's fire, whether it just takes long to do the training. And I think I just wanted to make sure that was part of the narrative. And so this is a direct solution to expedite the training process, correct?
That is correct. And I want to be very clear that and as of June 30th, we can't sit here and promise that we're going to have our 30 trainees through that pipeline is for the reasons you just stated. The training process is a very long time. The problem we're trying to rectify today is the fact that we have a solid number of people in our training pipeline. We have more people coming into that pipeline, but the pipeline isn't moving. So we need to get those folks certified and moved through the pipeline so the other people in there can move through, certify, and start contributing more to the workload as well.
All right, I appreciate that. Direct communication, thanks.
Great. I'd like to jump in here too, just on 2 quick points. Number one, I want to underscore something that Anne Marie mentioned up front, which is this is compulsory overtime. And we are talking about people who are required to take overtime because of the critical nature of the work that they do. They are first responders. And when you combine that with the hours of call taking, and those of us who've sat there in the call center and listened to the kind of calls that they're receiving, these are often very traumatic, urgent calls, life or death situations. And taking those calls hour after hour after hour after hour with no respite is a recipe for losing those who we already have on staff. None of us see this as the perfect long-term solution. It's not, but this is an important stopgap measure for that reason. The second thing I want to mention is if people call 911 and they don't get an immediate response on the worst day of their life, that speaks volumes about how they're going to view the city of Portland and the government of the city of Portland. People expect quick service when they call 911. That's the whole point of establishing a 911 emergency call center in the first place. That's not happening the way we'd like it to happen. So I think this is a very pragmatic approach. And I appreciate the commissioner in charge bringing it forward and the work that's being done. I think we all acknowledge, yes, this exposes us to potential other concerns on the part of other labor unions, but I will go back to the compulsory nature of what we're trying to do here and what was just stated about trying to move people through the training process. We're experiencing this in all of our first response bureaus. And first response, as I've said before, it's our primary obligation to the people of this city. It's their safety and making sure that the resources get to where they're needed in emergency situations. So it's not a perfect solution, but it's a good one for right now, and I think we should do it. That's my encouragement to my colleagues. Keelan, do we have any public testimony on this item?
We have 2 people signed up.
3 minutes each, please. Name for the record. Thank you for being here.
First up, we have Edith Gillis.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, Edith.
Before you start the timer, please grant me a needed reasonable medical accommodation for at least 2 more minutes for the extra time that'd be wasted on COVID cough and nose blowing and for my police-caused traumatic brain injury that slows me down and interferes with me testifying efficiently. I'm Edith Gillis, longtime teacher trainer and curriculum developer, wilderness first responder, Portland volunteer radio comms for people attacked by fascists, informal dispatcher for local street medics, management degree graduate of professional first aid and crisis response trainer, and unhappy caller to Portland 911 and sister to a former 911 dispatcher. I'm calling to say we need to do something different from this. This doesn't work. We have decades of research proving why it doesn't work, and we have research saying what would work better instead. And let's do that.
Vote no, because decades of several excellent research studies prove that when this approach has been tried across the country, it does not work. It's counterproductive. It defunds mental health and social services programs that are proven to work to help dispatchers and public safety. It's making them less effective. It adds the psychological and physiological harm to dispatchers and their families. It causes dispatchers to burn out, do worse, quit, and sabotage their work, creates more emergencies and risks to civilians and city government, increases the stress and fear of violence of police, increases lawsuits against the city, reduces city bond values and taxpayer resentment, and refuses to fund needed programs. It attracts the kinds of people we don't want dispatching and repulses those whom we do want, further harming our good dispatchers. It repels good trainers, replaces needed quality training content, and discourages people we need with lived experience to do a better job, and turns off those with the needed character strengths and skills and aptitudes or personalities and cultural sensitivities we need. It does not apply best practices in training, and it does not apply best practices in trauma care. It does not address the reasons why dispatchers begin or enjoy or end a job or do it well. It's not based on asking and respecting our current and former dispatchers on what best serves them, emergency response, and the community. It goes against research on the Great Resignation and 911 research, PTSD and mental health, crisis communication, emergency emotional first aid over the phone, best practices for teaching, learning, internalizing new perspectives, and trauma-informed culturally sensitive service with anti-biased work for social change for community healing. It doesn't educate the public on what to call and why and what to do instead. It goes against expensive studies on the Portland police culture and what they repeatedly do wrong, and the harm of their training and shift communications, does not apply documentation, videos, audios, analysis of communications between police dispatchers and responders and the public. It does not stop police killers from being paid to train. It does not improve the attitude from contempt and cruelty and alienation and harm. It goes against decades of teaching best practices. What we need to do is to make sure that dispatchers have a way in which they get more time, more breaks, they get mental health on the job, they have shorter hours, no overtime at all, shortening shifts, ample breaks. They get to have at the beginning and end of each shift and each dramatic call, a time to learn and to practice somatic-based de-traumatizing, to have honest expression of their feelings. They need, without shame or punishment, they need to have softer, caring management support. They need to have more community support. They need to have follow-up on knowing what happened to those calls, what happened to those people that they care about, and they need to be affirmed for caring and having feelings. They need to have support for their family members, and they need to have the community learn you don't just call 911 if you see someone who's poor or not white. We need to know how to train better. We can use video training. We can use better processes so that we're not using exhausted, overworked dispatchers who then are re-traumatized through the training process itself. There are much more effective ways to train people more slowly. You do not want to rush training, but we want to have quality timing and pacing and type of training, and better ways of certifying folks through scenarios, through computer fitting the wording, and to have more than just a multiple choice. We need to be able to observe them in different situations. We need to have time for them to integrate self-analysis and care of their—
Edith, thank you. You've made your point well. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next individual, please.
Next up, we have Mandy Rose Cousins.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I wanted to address the city. Have a seat. My name is Mandy Rose Cousins. I've been a resident of Portland. I was born here, raised my children here. My parents were raised here. I'm an Oregonian. I appreciate the time to address the commissioners and the council today. In regards to emergency 911 dispatch, I think that we obviously have a system that has been failing us. I tried to report sex trafficking crimes in this city on May 6th and 7th. I repeatedly tried to make that call and file that report for more than a month, at least 7 times a day. I left several messages. When I first called, I called and I sat on hold for an hour and a half. When I received the dispatcher, she told me she was handling emergency and non-emergency.
This confused me a little bit because my mother was a dispatcher for over 22 years. And I know that emergency calls would go, I think you call it BOAC now. Yeah, I knew it as CCOM, Central Dispatch, back in the day. But anyway, BOAC, and they handle all the emergency, and then all non-emergency are supposed to go in-house. Now, I know that we have a staffing problem, and we've had a big budgeting problem with the city. I'm a little confused. I don't handle that, so that's not my job. I just wanted to testify as to how this system has failed me and my family. I have a daughter who just had a 21st birthday. She's been missing since Mother's Day. I can't get the police to do a welfare check on her in Clackamas or Portland. I can't get Housing Authority to do a welfare check on her. And she lives on one of their properties. She gave birth to a child in June whom I've never seen. Children's Services, Gresham, took her other child into protective custody illegitimately, and I filed many reports. We are Mohawk Indian from Canada. We are under a federal protection order and peace and treaty agreement between Canada and the United States, but that is not honored either. My grandchildren are also Cherokee and possibly Blackfoot, at least one of them. My daughter had a domestic abuser. She called many times Portland Police for help. Nobody would assist her. She was told she would be taken to jail. He arrested. Never did the Portland Police arrest her abuser. He was driving uninsured without a license, under the influence. He broke her friend's arm and wrist. The police let him walk many, many times. She filed a protection order. They refused to serve the order unto him. They have insisted that these visits go to her domestic abuser. My daughter has been missing since May. Her name is Opal Beulah May Cousins. Her husband, J.T. Haugen, has been missing. My PTSD dog that she had is missing. And I have never met my granddaughter. She just had a second birthday. She's been in protective custody in Gresham, who has no jurisdiction legally according to assignment of jurisdiction therein. I also have a domestic abuser, Lawrence Ray Howell, Howell, of Beaverton, Oregon. He did this to me. The police would not assist the dispatchers. I could not get copies of the police reports. They have refused.
Maybe what we could do is get somebody to help you out.
I
Would
have
that be
tried
useful?
to reach Chief Lavelle, but I want you guys to understand how the system is failing us. See, everybody's overwhelmed, and we have an awesome procedure and protocol that's already in place. With 911 dispatching, my recommendation would be proper training. Portland
That makes good
Community
sense.
College has a wonderful program. It's a 9-month program that does thorough training before you bring them in. And having uncertified people holding positions in the Bureau and in dispatching has failed our city. Private
Yes,
contractors.
Thank you, and you've illustrated some really important points. We appreciate your being here today, so thank you.
I would like to also mention that I have contacted your office many times and have not heard back from you.
Okay,
I've
well,
sent you
we'll
emails.
make sure somebody does.
It also seems that the calls go to somebody else. They screen them, and then it doesn't get to the people
Yeah,
in your
that is
positions.
possible.
And that
'cause
seems to be,
There are some services we could definitely connect you with that could be helpful, and so
It's-
I'll make sure somebody from my staff who's here does that. We'll make sure that
they're
happens before you
auctioning
leave.
off everything I own today due to the harassment that I'm enduring. I tried to file this sex crimes report
Right, and
with
I don't want
Lawrence
to
Ray
belittle any
Howell
of this,
and
but
Thomas
we
Tegner.
need to move on to the remainder of the agenda, but we'll help you out before you
But
leave.
this has been my problem. I just wanted everybody to know
did. Thank you.
that this is what I get, and this is what my daughter gets. And had somebody done their job and followed procedure and protocol, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. My daughter wouldn't be missing, and my family wouldn't be suffering. My granddaughter is being abused. I've
Okay.
never
Well,
even met her.
let's see if we can help her out. We appreciate your being here. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
That
Was
completes
there anybody
testimony.
else signed up?
That completes testimony.
Very good. Colleagues, any further thoughts? I note this is an emergency ordinance. Is there anybody who'd like to suggest that we remove the emergency clause?
Well, if you're asking if I plan to vote in favor of this, I will not.
I would like to move that we remove the emergency clause.
Mr. Mayor, I think I'd like to have the vote anyway.
Call the roll.
Hardesty,
No.
Maps,
Aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank Anne Marie and Lisa for the presentations and my colleagues for the substantive dialogue. I'm just thinking back about the recent presentation we had and about how out of step we are with respect to call times and response time. And at the same time, we need to be doing all we can in the short term to better position our staff to be responsive. And so for me, I acknowledge a lot of the concerns that have been raised, and at the same time, we need some movement forward. And so what's compelling for me is knowing that it contributes to the work directly on the floor. So for that reason, I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Anne Marie and Lisa, for doing dialogue with us this morning. And really, again, thank you to the remaining members of BOEC who are working mandatory overtime and all those hours and serving our city the best they can. And I think, 68 of them. So I want to hold them in my heart as I vote yes.
Wheeler.
Restaffing continues to be a priority across all of our city bureaus, but especially our public safety bureaus. They shoulder one of the most critical responsibilities we have as a government to ensure the safety and the welfare of our constituents, as I mentioned earlier. I want to acknowledge the efforts and the hard decisions that have been made leading up to this proposal. For instance, imposing mandatory overtime in the face of staffing shortages is never an easy thing to do. I also want to underscore my thankfulness for the hard work of people who've been putting in those extra hours, serving the public and spending less time with their families and loved ones. I know that this is particularly challenging and it's demanding, especially in terms of the line of work that you're engaged in. I greatly appreciate the work to find solutions using the limited resources available, and I'm glad that this agreement could be reached within the framework available to BOEC. I'm hopeful that this incentive is both supportive of the ongoing work and effective in increasing training opportunities for new dispatchers. Ordinarily, I would enthusiastically vote yes, but today, for procedural reasons and for the purpose of reconsideration, I vote no. The ordinance fails. Colleagues, I'd like to make a motion for reconsideration. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second. Please vote on the motion for reconsideration. And if I understand correctly, it's been a while since I've doing it. We're just voting to reconsider at this point. We're not actually voting on the ordinance.
Correct.
So this is the question as to whether or not we should reconsider. It requires a majority vote. Please call the roll on the reconsideration.
Hardesty. Maps,
Aye.
Thank you.
Rubio,
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Aye. Is now under reconsideration. Please call Commissioner Maps. I would move that we remove the emergency clause from this ordinance. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second. Please call the roll on the removal of the emergency clause.
Hardesty.
Aye.
Maps,
Aye.
Rubio,
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. So the emergency clause has been removed. This is a non-emergency ordinance, and it now moves to second reading. Thank you. I believe we're on the regular agenda now. First item, please, 808.
Authorize intergovernmental agreement with Portland State University for the Hatfield Resident Fellows Program in amount not to exceed $1,500,000.
Colleagues, the City of Portland has welcomed Hatfield Resident Fellows and Oregon Summer Fellows since 2012. Over the last decade, we've benefited immensely from the talented, driven, service-minded Portland State University students who've come to work in our offices and bureaus. This ordinance will combine 3 PSU fellowship programs, allowing for the continuation of a valuable partnership between the city and Portland State University. Bureau of Human Resources Training Analyst and Hatfield Program Administrator Sheila Sylvester is here to present the ordinance. Welcome, Sheila.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Sheila Sylvester, and I am the coordinator for the City of Portland, Portland State University Hatfield Fellowship Program. And I'm excited to be here today, and I really appreciate everyone's time. The Portland State University Hatfield Fellowship is a rigorous, project-oriented professional and educational experience that's designed to provide each fellow with an opportunity to acquire leadership skills with a public service agency. As a part of the program, these postgraduate students are employed by PSU and eligible to work with us at the city. Once they're selected, they are available to work during specific timeframes in varying capacities. From mid-July to mid-February, we may have a Hatfield or public service fellow with us for an 8-month time frame. From mid-June, we could have an Oregon Summer Fellow with us for 10 weeks. Each fellow is sponsored by a city bureau, and the bureau actually pays the entire cost for their fellow and provides a scope of work that describes the project goals and the deliverables that are expected during the duration of the fellowship. The Bureau of Human Resources executes and monitors the agreement, according to council authorization. So before you today is the ordinance, the agreement, and the impact statement for the PSU Hatfield Fellowship Program Agreement. Now, it's important to point out that this program is designed to provide an opportunity for those graduate students to gain leadership skills and receive professional development. And this is a very popular program within the bureaus because the bureaus are allowed to have a graduate student work on specific projects. And it also allows the student to gain additional work experience that will support their future career goals. So in closing, we are submitting for your approval the ordinance, the impact statement, and the 5-year agreement, which will run from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2028. The agreement will combine 3 fellowship programs into one agreement, and it will continue to bring strong talent to our city and allow bureaus to access this popular program, which will allow also the city of Portland to continue its partnership with Portland State University for the next 5 years. And this completes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Colleagues, any questions? Commissioner Mapps? Nope. Any public testimony on this item?
No one signed up.
Very good. This is an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Hardesty.
Thank you, Sheila Sylvester, for being here today to present this presentation. As you were speaking, I was like, that's got to be Norman Sylvester's sister, because
yes, it is.
I figured, right? It's like, because the Sylvesters all pretty much look alike. You can pick them out of a crowd. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I am very supportive of this program and grateful for the good work that we continue to do together. Very happy to vote aye.
Maps.
Thank you.
Yes, I also am very supportive of this program. I vote aye.
Rubio.
Thank you, Sheila, for being here, and I'm happy to vote aye.
Ryan.
Thank you, Sheila, for being here. Wonderful presentation. Go Vikes. I vote aye.
Wheeler.
You had to get that in, didn't you? Thank you, Sheila. Well done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I vote aye. The ordinance is adopted. Next item, please. 810, which is also, wait, no, I've got that wrong. 809, which is also an emergency ordinance.
Create 2 new non-represented classifications of operations director and incident command manager and establish compensation ranges for these classifications.
Colleagues, on May 11th of 2022, I established the Public Environment Management Office, sometimes called PEMO, through emergency declaration. PMO's charge is to provide a single, coordinated response to nagging livability issues that arose during the pandemic, namely litter collection, noise abatement, and graffiti abatement. I appointed Christine Leon to lead this effort. Christine had previously spent 28 years in positions of increased leadership within the Portland Bureau of Transportation. Her collaborative demeanor complements a relentless drive to solve the problems before her and to get things done. Complementing Christine is Anna Hill, who also enjoys a professional reputation as a renowned problem solver. Together, they're a terrific team of two tasked with leading our city's coordinated response to these livability issues, values that are front and center for the people of this city. Given their reputations, choosing to appoint these two was actually very easy for me as mayor. However, the Bureau of Human Resources decided it would be prudent to establish new classifications to ensure the city can quickly and efficiently appoint temporary leadership in response to an emergency. Barbara Seipels from BHR is here to share our Bureau's approach to this important responsibility. Christine Leon is, of course, also here to answer any questions my colleagues have about the PMO program and its current work. Thank you. And could you introduce yourself for the record, just to make that clear? Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm Barb Seipels. I'm with the Bureau of Human Resources in the Classification and Compensation Unit. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having, for considering this request from BHR to create these classifications. So essentially, in order to support the quick and efficient response to emergencies, to situations that the mayor and city council determines to be of the utmost priority to the city, this often involves creating positions, and we want to be able to support these individuals in these positions to do their work effectively. And that means integrating these positions into our current classification and compensation structure. And so by creating these classifications, we can very quickly appoint these individuals into these classifications. Classifications are tied to pay, so we can quickly perform a review of pay equity to ensure we're compensating appropriately. And as they are appointed into these classifications, they are then integrated into our structures, which allow for, regular and systemic application of COLA rates and merit rates. So it just allows us to very rapidly place individuals into our structure so that they can concentrate on doing the work that council has placed before them.
Commissioner Hursti.
Are these two positions currently filled?
The positions have been appointed to Christine Leon and I believe Anne. And so we have the positions, but we don't have them situated in the correct, the appropriate classifications.
And I guess for me, I'm always fascinated by human resources range. I mean, $160,000 range for a job tells me absolutely nothing about what the qualifications would be and how you would select someone for the position. So for me, there are two things. We already have people doing these two jobs. My understanding is these jobs are temporary, and we're creating permanent, high-paying positions for temporary jobs. What happens when the mayor's state of emergency is over?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. I agree that the pay ranges that we're requesting look a bit strange.
Insane.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea behind these pay ranges and these classifications is that these positions will be limited in duration. These positions would not be ongoing. However, the classifications themselves are established, indefinitely. So the idea is that, let's say there's an emergency declaration to create, for example, an IT information security director. And so we have a position. We need to put them in a classification in order to integrate them into our pay structure. But IT positions demand a different pay in the market than maybe some other position that's created through an emergency declaration. And so this long range gives us flexibility in assigning pay. And it works a little bit differently than our typical classification structure, where a classification is typically aligned with a recognized body of work in the marketplace. In this case, these are broad classifications, and they would accommodate different sort of recognized areas in the market. So this would be appropriate for somebody working in the IT field or somebody working in the human services field. So the broad ranges are to recognize that we might have positions created across the spectrum of the labor market.
I guess that kind of troubles me because this doesn't say that these are temporary positions, that they're based on states of emergency or some other declaration that happens. And these are very well-paying positions, so I'm still a little confused about where the individuals that were mentioned, where do they fit into this? How long will they have this salary before they go back to their regular job? It just feels like this is a little soft. And this is the third time this has been on the council's agenda, and the very first time there've been people here to actually answer some questions, so thank you.
If you want me to speak, I'm Christine Leon. I am the appointed director of the newly formed PMO office, which is the Public Environment Management Office. And it's
sounds a lot like PDAP.
Yeah.
I don't know who does the acronyms, but they should fix that.
I named it for lack of anything else. Yeah. But as a long-standing career professional in the city, I care about what happens in the public environment and the public right-of-way. My career in PBOT has been focused on the right-of-way, and frankly, the leadership that I can provide to get it cleaned up and beautified is what I'm committed to. It is awkward for me as a career professional to have a temporary 2-week job. The classification that HR is creating is a permanent classification, but I know that my job is 2-week by 2-week, because that's what the code allows the mayor's office to do, is to do that emergency declaration in that short time frame. I would hope that we would get it cleaned up and beautified in 2 weeks, but I don't think that that is going to happen. So I'm committed to deliver those service around graffiti and garbage and noise in the right-of-way, and making sure that we connect with Portlanders so they know who to call to take action. We have instituted problem solver meetings in the high equity areas so people don't get frustrated on, do I call BPS or do I call Metro Rid or do I call BDS? That's what our office is here to help, and we're so pleased that we've been taking a lot of action so far. We've done a lot of reach out, working with 311 to consolidate the intake. It's been a great team. So
I appreciate the fabulous work you're doing. I'm not questioning the work. I'm questioning what are you asking us to do today, and whether this is permanent or this is temporary, and how will I know as an elected leader what it is I'm voting on? That's what I'm asking for today.
And I might be able to provide a little bit more information there. There is, of course, as you know, a distinction between positions and classifications. And positions can be designated as limited term or limited duration. So I might be for, and this is a pretty common occurrence at the city, maybe there's a vacancy and maybe an analyst 3 is temporarily appointed to a manager 1 role. They meet the qualifications of that role. And there's a need, maybe there's a vacancy. So that appointment would be for a limited term. But because that individual is working in a different classification, we would conduct a pay equity review to ensure that they're being appropriately paid for this new role that they're taking on for a limited time. That pay would then be applied to them while they are in that limited term role. And then once they are, that limited term appointment has ended, they would return to their ongoing position and revert back to the pay that they had when they left that position, with, of course, COLA added if it was a longer duration. So the positions within the classification are of a limited term, but the classifications will remain active for the ability to appoint people into them and out of them. And we already have something similar in our ECC, the Emergency Coordination Center structure, in that when we do have a declared emergency, we can hire people into these ECC classifications as opposed to having them sort of work in their current classifications but doing different work.
Yeah, we did a lot of that when COVID first hit, right? And I thought that was a really good structure that worked very well. But we didn't have to create any positions that were permanent and were at this high level in order to do that emergency work. So again, that's why I just don't understand all of that we have these new temporary positions that actually the positions are permanent, but the people in them will be in them temporarily.
I'm sorry, the positions are temporary. The classification.
The classification is permanent. Got it. Say it all together now 3 times. Okay. Got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you answering my questions.
Thank you.
That was good dialogue. Any other questions, colleagues? Is there public testimony on this item?
We do have people signed up.
Great. Thank you. We might call you back up. Thank you.
First up, we have Dan Lunzen.
Hey, Dan, name for the record, please, 3 minutes.
Dan, you're muted.
How's that?
Better, thanks.
Okay, I apologize for that. Dan Lindsay, Old Town business owner, property owner, longtime business owner throughout the city of Portland. Been working with Christine Leon on this Problem Solvers group for quite a while, and I've definitely seen how this job and this position is developed, and what they were able to do counter to what was being done before. They were able to get a lot of stuff done. I think that was the heavy lifting came under one under one roof. The folks that were collaborating together didn't have to go to different meetings, and so I think a lot of things sped up. So this temporary position, I think, has been very effective. I'm in favor of this, and there's been some positive movements that I personally have seen and experienced in that. Some items on NATO that we needed some help moving. Christine's team helped out as far as some of the other trash and graffiti removals and other items. I think their team has been really swift. So I think doing this is a good idea. Thank you.
Next up, we have Liz Smith. Liz, you're muted.
Sorry, my computer froze up for a second. Hi, everybody. This is Liz Smith. I am the small business owner. I'm president of the St. John's Boosters Business Association, and I'm here to talk about PMO today. I'm really excited to be a part of this program. We've talked about neighborhood cleanups. We've talked about construction issues that have happened, and the problem solver meetings, to me, are so great in that we have the tools to be able to do reporting and speak to each other. But honestly, what it has revealed is that because of COVID, because of so many things, we leaders, we community members
need to kind of relearn how to be better communicators and also help the leadership of the city understand how we need to be communicated to. So what is so interesting about this to me, just on a human psychology kind of level, is that it's like we need to relearn this language, or we need to relearn what the barriers are to solving the problems, or we need to learn how to teach our community members how to report better, or why it's important to take a picture of graffiti before, scrubbing it down, how that's going to help in the long term and the big term. So already we've seen such a great movement towards actually solving the bigger problems, a way to highlight them. And again, the ability to come together in person, walk the site, talk about these real things. And what we've been missing for so many years is that sort of in person, hey, let's look at the thing. What can we do about the thing? How can we put our heads together? I really appreciate the high level, but also boots on the ground combination of this effort. And for us in St. John's, we're so far out there. It's really nice to have this a focus on North Portland for this time period, especially with our construction and all that kind of stuff. I have to apologize. I had a stroke a month ago, and if my language is not clear, please tell me to repeat myself. And please get your blood pressure checked, everybody. That's my advice for the day. It's really important. Go back, make sure you get your checkups. If I leave you with nothing else today, make sure you do that. But just like, it actually kind of relates to what I'm talking about today. It's like we stopped doing so many things during COVID. We're having to relearn them. Like I'm relearning speech and movement, and we are too as a city and community. So that's my 2 cents.
Liz, thank you, and it's great to see you recovering well. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
That completes testimony.
All right, very good. This is an emergency ordinance. Is there any further question or discussion? Please call the roll.
Hardesty? No. Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
I vote no for the purposes of reconsideration. The motion fails. Colleagues, I'd like to move that we reconsider. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hardesty. Please call the roll on the motion for reconsideration.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye. The motion passes. Colleagues, I'd like to move removal of the emergency clause from ordinance 809. Can I get a second? Commissioner Hardesty seconds. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the motion carries. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Next item, actually, could we read 810 and 811 together? These are second readings. We've already heard a presentation and had opportunity for public input on both.
810, amend business license law code related to the apportionment and allocation of income. And 811, amend business license law code related to administrative and housekeeping changes.
Any further discussion on either of these items? Seeing none, please call the roll on 810.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. Please call the roll on item 811.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. 812, a second reading. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mayor, did you want me to read the title?
Yeah, I guess you better. Nothing stands between me and a pizza except you reading some of these things, so please go ahead.
Thank you. Authorize sewer revenue bonds to finance sewer system capital improvements for amount not to exceed $440 million and to refund outstanding bonds.
Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. Item number 813, this is a second reading, but it's my understanding that staff would also like to make a very brief presentation on this to answer some of the questions that came up in the interim. If you could read item number 813, please, second reading.
Authorize application to the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance for a grant in the amount of $502,459 for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program FY 2022 local solicitation to assist the Portland metropolitan area law enforcement to prevent and reduce crime and violence.
Colleagues, this item is before us, of course, on a second reading. The ordinance would authorize the Portland Police Bureau to apply for the 2022 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $502,459. Some of these funds would staff one FTE limited-term position in the Equity and Inclusion Office. This limited-term position would be dedicated to assisting the equity and inclusion staff in ongoing work to ensure training materials have been reviewed with an equity and inclusivity lens. I was not present at last week's council session, but I understand there may be some unanswered questions, and I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to answer those. To that end, I have invited Lauren Rosenstein, as well as Marlon Marion and Captain Chris Jovic to attend today and provide a bit more information to us. With that, I'll turn it over to Lauren, I believe.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. Good afternoon, members of council. Thank you all for your time today. Again, I'm Lauren Rosenstein. I'm the Equity Training Specialist in the Portland Police Bureau. My position is housed in the Equity and Inclusion Office, and I work in tandem with the Training Division. I'm joined today by my direct supervisor, Equity Manager Marlon Marion, and the Training Division's Captain Chris Jovic. We're here today to request approval for the funding provided through this grant, known as the JAG grant colloquially. This grant, as you said, will provide funding to the Portland Police Bureau to hire a temporary limited-term position with the working title Inclusion and Social Justice Initiative Trainer. This position is modeled after the City of Seattle's Office for Civil Rights, Race and Social Justice Initiative Trainer. Last week, you provided me with questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer them now and provide any other detailed information you're looking for. Last week, Commissioner Hardesty asked why we would bring this position on before the Dean of Education. To clarify, this is a position that will be held within the Equity and Inclusion Office, as my position is, and not the Training Division where the Dean will be located. As a part of this grant funding, we will be building a proof of concept report so that when the Dean is hired, they will be able to view the data and contributions of the position. This report will inform the Dean of the bigger picture needs through a formalized gap analysis and needs assessment, so they are able to determine the viability of the position. It will be under the advice and decision of the Dean if the position becomes a full-time position, if they would like to re-up the grant for another cycle or eliminate the position. We do not want to put the work and efforts of the Equity and Inclusion Office nor upholding constitutional requirements within our Training Division on hold for a moment longer. This position is not taking on new work. This is currently all work that my position is responsible for. As the Equity Training Specialist, I have been tasked with ensuring compliance with Title II and VI of the Civil Rights Act, as well as the City of Portland's Title 23 Civil Rights throughout the Portland Police Bureau's trainings. There are hundreds of lesson plans, some over 40 pages long, as well as PowerPoints, videos, and resources to vet. I recognize that there are gaps and we can do better. I also know that one person alone cannot ensure 100% success for one of the largest bureaus. Beyond reviewing lesson plans and training material, the incumbent will be responsible for providing research to subject matter experts from diverse resources, instructing all members in courses that center human and civil rights, social justice, and cultural empathy, identifying best practices, leading our 44-hour community engagement course for new recruits, and always completing work in line with the Department of Justice requirements, policy, and the Constitution. The creation of this position will provide the Equity Training Specialist with the ability to spend time completing myriad tasks that are currently unfulfilled due to the workload I just described. The Equity Training Specialist will be able to complete a gap analysis, a needs assessment, ensure constitutional compliance throughout the trainings, continue detailed reporting out to the Police Bureau advisory groups, collaborate with equity training partners throughout the City of Portland, build relationships with the community members and key stakeholders, and plan to meet the new House Bill 2162 requirements for equity trainings. Last week, Council also asked why we would fund this position instead of another position, or why we would not continue funding the previous recipients through this grant. Right now, those positions that were identified are still in their first funding cycle and are not eligible to receive additional funds. Past positions that have been funded with this grant and turned into full-time positions are the grants management analyst, a payroll specialist, the training and development analyst, and the sexual assault kit investigation senior administrative specialist / victim advocate. Additionally, this grant only provides funding for very specific programs. The description reads, this opportunity will provide funding to create and implement training and technical assistance programs for criminal justice stakeholders that support local law enforcement and prosecutorial agencies in the development of violence reduction strategies, training of law enforcement officers, and implementation of ethical technological strategies that build digital trust and promote community engagement. The Portland Police Bureau has identified the need to build holistic programming in the training of the Police Bureau staff that includes community engagement, thereby meeting the requirements for this funding is twofold. First, by bringing forward a position focused on creating and implementing training that centers equity and inclusion, as well as ensures constitutional compliance in all internal and external materials. And second, because with the addition of this position, we will be able to continue to build the systems and relationships we need to ensure transparency to our communities and provide multiple ways to engage in the processes. We know that when communities are included, we build resiliency and trust. To Commissioner Ryan's point last week, we need the time and position to gather data to prove this point and perhaps dig deeper to ask if there is a direct impact on reducing community violence. Again, I will be looking to results-based accountability as laid out by the Office of Equity and Human Rights in this analysis. We cannot do the important work of data collection, building equitable trainings, reviewing all current training materials, utilizing the Equity Lens tool, instructing, researching, coaching, and collaborating with other Bureau professionals and members of the community in totality without this position. As Commissioner Hardesty said last week, there should never be a one-person shop. I'm asking that you help us become a shop of two to better meet the values of our city and specifically to impact the training of our Portland Police Bureau staff in the immediate future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Commissioner Hardesty had a question.
Thank you, Lauren. You sound like you had a lot of coffee this morning.
I only had like 2 minutes. I didn't want to take up too much time on a second reading. And if I read fast, it was 5 minutes. So I thought, let's move it.
I was going to say, breathe, Lauren, breathe. Thank you very much for that very detailed and thoughtful response. Let me say, I will say what I said last week, which is I was trying to understand why we would be hiring someone to develop more training material when we're in the process of hiring a training dean that is supposed to review all the training we do now, because we know some of it is not constitutional, and before we keep building more stuff. It feels like we keep doing stuff, and then the evaluation part is over here somewhere, totally disconnected from the work that we're doing. So we have the DOJ that has some questions for us around training and how we do a constitutional training. We've got a training dean that I hear we're gonna hire that's gonna review all our training material for a constitutional and racially appropriate placing. But again, we're over here now creating all this other stuff that will then have to be reviewed by the new training dean once they get here. So it feels very disconnected from a vision of where we're headed. And that's why I had those questions for you last week. And I appreciate the whole team showing up today to support you and providing answers. But that's my concern. It feels like we're piecemealing this thing, and everybody's got their little piece in their little silo, but no one's talking about what's the big picture of being able to train police in an accountable, racially appropriate way.
I'd like to respond to that, if I may.
Go ahead, Captain.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today, and thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. And I understand that's how it feels, Commissioner Hardesty.
Chris, could you put your name in for the record, please?
I'm sorry?
Could you put your name in for the record, please?
Yeah, you bet. Captain Chris Jove, Portland Police. And I understand that this feels siloed. This is actually an evolution of what Lauren's been doing for the last year. About a year ago, when I started in my position, we put our heads together and tried to formalize a process to insert equity in an equity lens in every training that we did. That very, very quickly became an overwhelming task. Reviewing every single lesson plan, again, hundreds of lesson plans, some dozens of pages long, and accompanying material, like she said, videos, PowerPoints, handouts. So this is the necessary next step to be able to let Lauren do her primary work, which she was doing beforehand, and somebody else to pick up this huge workload so we can work more efficiently. And Lauren can also develop her own curriculum, which is what she was originally paid to do as well.
So that's how we evolved to this point right now.
Thank you, Captain. Marlon, you had a comment as well.
Yes, this is Marlon Marion from the Portland Police Bureau. I totally agree as well. This position was a position that the community had been asking us about for a long time. Every time we go to community meetings, when we're trying to get feedback, the majority of the feedback that we get is like, we need to be working on their training. So we were finally able to get this position. And Lauren has been doing a great job ever since she's been into this role. The problem is that there's so many expectations from this position from the community that she's unable to meet with so many lesson plans that she needs to go through all the time. Those lesson plans are starting to take up the bulk of her work. And we need to go through those lesson plans in like a lot of detail to make sure that we're not like, oh, why is there an overrepresentation of this particular population being presented as criminals or this, that, and the other? Like, there's just so much. You got to comb through it like with a lot of details. You got to watch every single video. You have to go through every single slide. You got to go through every single scenario. And I also feel like I'm putting pressure on her as well. As like, the communities are asking for these trainings. You don't have time to develop the things that the community is asking you for because you're doing so much of this other work. Like, she just needs the assistance. And so I'm not saying, I totally understand the concerns. I think those are legitimate concerns. I do see the bigger picture. And I feel like we're putting this together in a way in which the dean will have the ability to inform what this body of work, this position will look like, and what Lauren's work will look like in the future as well.
Thank you, Marlon. Do I understand that this position actually works outside of the police bureau with community, or is this a position that's working inside the bureau with police officers? I'm confused now.
It works with both, but because she works in the equity office, we need a lot of community input. So when she needs a lot of community input to inform our trainings. When we just got done putting out our queer policy and our queer training, she spent hours engaging with different people from that population to develop those trainings. It takes a lot of time for her to engage with the communities because she can't say, oh, I'm a part of this community. I can't have her like, we're doing a training on Black identity. I was like, you don't represent that identity. You need to engage with that community, get that information to help inform the training. It just takes a lot of time to do that kind of engagement and also be spending hours diving deep into the lesson plans. So her position does a lot of different work. She works within the bureau, but she has to engage the community to inform her work is what I'm saying.
I'm surprised that Lauren has to develop this material herself. There's a lot of material that already exists. And if we had if we were working with community-based organizations that does that kind of training, it just seems ridiculous that we have individuals developing individual trainings. And again, it doesn't feel like there's a vision about how we're doing all the training together as compared to, I mean, people use the word equity as the new buzzword, right? It's like affirmative action, and every decade we get a new term. But again, it's like, what are we developing, and is it making a difference? And I'm done. That's my last question. Thanks.
Lauren, you had another comment?
Yeah.
And then we need to move on.
Yes, I'll just clarify quickly. I'm not only developing training, right? I am in fact going out and finding training that already exists. I'm working with national partners in order to bring that in, because I agree, why reinvent the wheel if it already exists? And I don't need to be the person, right? I am just the person who goes through and vets and builds those relationships so folks can come in and do that work. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. Any further questions? This is a second reading of a non-emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
I want to thank Lauren and Captain Jovic and Marlon for being here today and clarifying those questions. I think it's important that we do this. The limited term position, from my perspective, is an immediate and urgent need. Reviewing a massive library of training materials to ensure equity and inclusivity principles are reflected as a huge task that requires hundreds of hours of work, and it's fallen on the shoulders of Lauren predominantly. And I just want to really thank you for your efforts. We're working diligently to hire a civilian training dean at the PPB. Just FYI, that process has been redeveloped with input from all the council offices, and I want to thank my colleagues for that. The job posting is intended to go live on the 3rd of October. But until that position is filled, the Bureau is and must continue to strive towards equity and inclusion, particularly in its training. This position is going to help to ensure that that important work continues in the interim. I vote aye, and the ordinance is adopted. Thank you all for your hard work on this, and Commissioner Hardesty, thank you for your good questions. Colleagues, do you mind if we press forward quickly with the last 3 remaining items? I want to just check with our closed captioners. Can they hang with us for another 15 minutes or 20 minutes? How are they doing?
I think that should be fine.
Okay, very good. Please read 813, which is a non-emergency, 814, which is a non-emergency ordinance.
Revised conditions required for North Baldwin Street east of North Delaware Avenue as vacated.
Commissioner Hardesty.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. This particular item is very simple, and I have a masked individual from Peabody County that is going to share the details of this particular measure. Let me just turn it over right here. This is a street vacated activity, not a vacation, vacated activity, and I'm going to turn it over to.
Hi, I'm Lance Lindahl, PBOT right-of-way acquisition. Thank you, Commissioner.
Turn it over to Lance, and he's going to tell us what we are voting on. Thank you, Lance.
All right, again, thank you. Before you today is a proposal to amend the conditions of approval for the vacation of a portion of North Baldwin Street. And there are some visuals I prepared. I hope we can put them up and go through them just real quick so that there's some photos and maps on the record showing what's happening here. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide, slide number 2. All right, this project has a complex history, so there's a number of things I just want to touch upon real quick. Back in 1979, the area outlined in red, shown here, was vacated per city ordinance. And at that time, a 10-foot wide pedestrian walkway was retained as public right-of-way in the center, or near the center of that area. Then in 2006, City Council approved an additional ordinance vacating this walkway, subject to certain conditions and reservations. Next slide, please. The ordinance from 2006 was not recorded and finalized. This was due to changes in property ownership, revised development plans, and a delay in meeting the required conditions. Trinity Academy, the current property owner, is now moving forward with plans to expand the school facility at this location. Amending the 2006 ordinance will allow the required conditions to be updated to better reflect current conditions for the school renovation plans to move forward. And next slide, please. The aerial image here provides some neighborhood context. The project area is mostly residential. It's located 2 blocks north of North Lombard Street and 4 blocks west of Denver Avenue. Next slide. Some recent photos of the area are included here. This first photo is taken from the west end of the vacation area along North Delaware Avenue. And the area to be vacated currently runs through the center of this photo area, right through the center of a parking lot between 2 existing school buildings. And next slide, please. This photo is from the east end of the vacation area. And as you can see here, the area is currently open for pedestrian access. However, there's currently not any improved walkway, certainly nothing that's compliant with current Americans with Disabilities Act standards. And slide number 7, please. As a part of the required conditions of approval, PBOT is requiring the property owner to construct a new sidewalk along the north side of Russet Street, which is 1 block to the south. And you can see that area shown here in green. The existing street trees will be preserved. And in fact, an additional 4 trees are going to be planted along this section of street as part of that project. Also, per PBOT's request, the number of driveway entrances on North Delaware is going to be reduced from 3, and current plans show it going down to just 1 driveway. So that should improve and enhance the pedestrian experience out there. Next slide, please. Other conditions of approval, BES has requested some language changes. The core of their requirements is staying the same though. There's a new maintenance hole that needs to be built in North Baldwin for an existing 8-inch sewer pipe. And also the pipe within the vacation area will need to be turned over from public to private ownership. Also, the passage of time has resulted in a number of changes to the Water Bureau's conditions. Many of the improvements that they were asking to be constructed have actually already been done through different city capital projects. So that's my main reason for being here today, is to strike that language section from the ordinance. Next slide. Current plans call for an expanded school building to occupy a portion of the street vacation area. Representatives from Trinity Academy are also in attendance today. and are available to speak more about the project. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Colleagues, any questions? Is there any public testimony on this item?
No one signed up.
Very good. This is a plain old ordinance. All
Regular
right,
first
very
reading.
good.
Yes.
This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It
Correct.
moves to second reading. Thank you for being here today. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Yep.
Item number 815, this is a second reading. We have already heard a presentation on this item, and there's been opportunity for public input. Please read it.
Authorize competitive solicitation and contracts to support critical temporary professional modeling support service needs in the Bureau of Environmental Services for amount not to exceed $15,050,000 over 5 years.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Please call the roll.
Hardesty.
I'm going to vote no on this because I am concerned we keep doing these 5-year on-call contracts to the same people over and over and over again. And in fact, if this is work that we need to do, we should do it in-house because we are using significant city employees to supervise these contractors over and over and over again. And my understanding is that it is not a good thing. So I'm voting no.
Maps.
I'll be voting yes on this. The work that we're contracting out is highly specialized computer modeling for critically vital infrastructure projects. I do hear Commissioner Hardesty and with her concerns about the needs to balance how much we invest in contract workers versus how much we invest in permanent workers. I take that very seriously. In fact, in the coming weeks and months, you'll see me come to this council with various proposed reforms for, frankly, hiring more full-time workers. In the meantime, after giving this particular proposal some strict scrutiny, I believe that this is the right ordinance to pass, and for these reasons and more, I vote aye.
Rubio.
I appreciate the dialogue that happened the other week on this topic, and I do appreciate that this is something that my colleagues and that Commissioner Maps is interested in looking at this moving forward. So I, for those reasons, vote aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Wheeler. Authorize competitive solicitation and contract with the lowest responsible bidder for construction of the Washington Park South Entry project for an estimated cost of $5,200,000.
Thank you. We'll try to make this as brief as possible. So thank you to Parks and Recs for bringing this item forward. Washington Park is an iconic city asset featuring cultural and recreational venues. And the South Entry project improves wayfinding and circulation for visitors, whether they are arriving by car, bus, bicycle, or on foot. It delivers a world-class entrance featuring a stormwater garden to help filter pollutants and manage stormwater, both of which are critical components to the visitor and operations on the site. This project is in its development has had a testament to its importance to the region, has been a testament to its importance to the region by the number of partnerships and agreements to bring this project to its current place. And this has included an extensive development review with ODOT and BDS, an award of a BES % for green grant in the amount of more than $7 million, I think that is. Extensive outreach and community involvement with the Washington Park collaboration of cultural institutions and stakeholders, and I apologize, over $700,000. Finally, the Southwest Entrance Project implements the required stormwater mitigation outlined in LU 12-15-6689. So I'd like to now introduce Travis Roybal, the Capital Projects Manager with Portland Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. I'm going to share my screen and do a quick PowerPoint presentation for you. Okay, are you seeing me okay?
We see you. We don't see the presentation.
Apologize for that. Let me try this one more time. Okay, how about that?
Well, you still look good, but we don't see your presentation.
Here we go. Let's try this one more time. How we doing now?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not saying it. Somebody else.
You still look good, but we still can't see the presentation.
All right.
On behalf of the mayor.
Yeah, but you're building up the suspense. I don't know about you guys, I have very high expectations about this. Oh, I think you got it. All right, there's the
Hey.
agenda. There's the agenda.
This never gets old, does it?
Yes, actually, yes, it does after about the fourth hour. I'm here all day,
Okay.
folks. Take it away. Thanks, Travis. We see it now.
All right, we see it.
Okay, let's see here. Boy,
You had it. You had it. Now you lost it. I think Travis is just punking us. That's what I think is going. There it is. We see it. We see it. You got it.
well, unfortunately, I'm not seeing it.
Just talk, we'll watch the pictures.
Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but my notes are not appearing for me right now.
I see what you're saying. Megan, you know how to fix that? Somebody here's a genius and can figure this out. Ness, you're a smart guy.
Yeah, if you send it to our office,
Oh,
we can share on your
okay.
behalf.
So,
It's
I'm beginning.
councilclerk@portlandoregon.gov.
okay, good point. So, Travis, we've all seen this presentation, or at least we've seen the PowerPoint. So I think we at least know physically what we're talking about, the location and some of the features of the grand entrance.
I have my information here. Maybe I can just read it for you, and if
Yeah,
there's
that'll work.
questions, we can talk. Okay, thank you so much. I apologize for
Not
the
a problem.
technical difficulties. So, Mr. Mayor, Council, thanks for having me here today. My name is Travis Rubal. I'm a capital project manager and landscape architect with Portland Parks and Recreation. I'm here today to request council authorization for a competitive bid solicitation and contracting with the lowest responsible bidder for construction of the Washington Park South Entry project. Washington Park is a 410-acre park located in southwest Portland in the Arlington Heights, Sylvan Highlands neighborhood. The park is home to the Oregon Zoo, World Forestry Center, the former Portland Children's Museum building, Hoyt Arboretum, International Rose Test Garden, the Portland Japanese Garden, several memorials, including Oregon Holocaust Memorial, the Vietnam Veterans of Oregon Memorial, serving as a regional attraction that brings in 3.5 million visitors annually. In March 2018, City Council unanimously approved the Washington Park Master Plan to strategically guide the future development of the park. In 2019, this project began working with the community on achieving the first step towards that vision. The South Entry project, collaborating with key stakeholders and park cultural institutions. The project marks the first project to be implemented out of the Washington Park Master Plan. The current South Entry Drive is densely forested with a mix of deciduous and evergreens trees, framing the road and giving a sense of park arrival. There are multiple decision points, road configurations, and minimal signage at the entry to welcome visitors or provide key wayfinding moments. The result leads to traffic backups, negative interactions between pedestrians, bikes, and cars, and general confusion. Slopes are very steep on the northwest side of Knights Boulevard, and the only sidewalk located on the south side of Knights Boulevard is narrow. Further down the drive, the road splits in several different locations, and there's very minimal directional wayfinding to help visitors navigate their destination. This project identified three primary goals. One, creation of a grand entry to the park, inspired by the community visioning to deliver a long desired iconic entry to the multiple regional, cultural, and recreational amenities. Two, improve pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicular access/circulation. Increase safety and access to the variety of park users and modes. And three, stormwater mitigation, fulfilling land use requirements resulting from the construction of parking lot located west of the Children's Museum. The construction cost estimate is $5.2 million, paid for with SBC funding, Washington Park parking meter funding, ADA transition plan funding, and Percent for Green grant funding. Operations and maintenance budget is anticipated to be approximately $204,000 per year, which will be paid for by levy funding, with the exception that PPR, through its sustainable future efforts, will work with City Council to identify a successor resource to address this ongoing post-levy. Today, we are here to request that Council authorize competitive bid solicitation and contract with the lowest responsible bidder for construction of the Washington Park South Entry project. With the acceptance of this authority to bid by Council, we proceed with bid advertisement as soon as possible. The Parks team, in partnership with Procurement Services, will utilize the standard subcontractor equity program specification, which requires 20% of the hard construction costs to be subcontracted to certified firms. Of that 20%, there is a 14% goal for disadvantaged minority and women utilization. Procurement's inclusive contract manager, Teresa Green, will assist in outreach specifically to minority contractors. We anticipate construction to start in January 2023 with a completion date by May 2024. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Colleagues, any questions on this item? Very good, and thank you for improvising there. Do we have any public testimony on this item?
No one signed up.
All right, very good. So I just want to say this, it's sort of unfortunate that this came all the way at the end of the agenda prior to, we still have the two pulled items. Yeah. But I really want to say this. This is a project that has been a long time in the making, and it is a iconic move by the city of Portland if we can get this done. And I'm very confident now that we're moving this forward at a pace where we're going to start to see real results. And I really want to thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for your leadership on this.
Thank you. May I say, I also want to just lift up Travis. Travis has been here for multiple years on this project, and he's done excellent work here. So I just want to thank you, Travis, for your service and for seeing this project through.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Rubio.
Very good. Thank you, Travis. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Now we go back to the consent agenda. I believe two items were pulled from the consent agenda. Megan, I believe the first was item number 800.
Authorize 5-year price agreements to purchase aggregate materials and related services with Fazio Bros, Sand Incorporated, JW Underground Incorporated, MEI Group, Northwest Infrastructure LLC, and Wilkins Trucking Co. Incorporated for an estimated cost of $15 million.
This is a report, and Commissioner, did you pull this one?
Yes, I did.
Good, and I just want to make sure we have staff from procurement online.
I see Biko here.
Oh, Biko, good, thank you. Thanks, Biko, for being here.
Or Director Taylor, I should say.
Yes, Director Taylor. Thanks for being here. Commissioner Hardesty, why don't you go ahead and ask your questions of Director Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor. And just so you know, I did have my office reach out to Director Taylor because what I noticed in reading the material that was presented to us was it was highlighted the one African-American-owned firm, and it was silent on whether or not we were able to acquire any additional diversity and who was being contracted under this ordinance. And that's why I asked Mr. Taylor to come and tell me about whether or not we have achieved our goals with the other people, the other organizations who are getting these contracts. Thank you, Director Taylor.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler, City Council. For the record, I'm Biko Taylor, the city's Chief Procurement Officer. Commissioner Hardesty, to address your question directly, we employed our inclusive contracting manager on this deal, Teresa Green, and we had pretty robust outreach to over 200 co-bid certified, potential co-bid certified vendors. We received interest from 37 co-bid certified, potentially co-bid certified suppliers here. But we only have one official submission. So our outreach was pretty aggressive. Given the scope, we believe the type of materials that were requested, we think that's fueling the reason why we only got one official bid on this project.
So Director Taylor, let me compliment you on actually doing an incredibly good job with outreach. I really think those 37 that expressed interest, it would probably be good for us to go back and find out why 36 of them did not put in a proposal. I find sometimes the city asks really convoluted stuff Sometimes it's because the city requires bonding when no other government municipality requires subcontractors to bond. I think it would be very helpful for us as we continue to move forward to find out why 36 firms owned by people of color chose not to participate in a public proposal, right? So I appreciate the answer to the question, and again, thank you, because before you were here, Director Taylor, no one would have told me they'd reached out to 37 firms, trying to be really intentional about who we would contract with. That's very helpful. And I know we're all tired, so I'm not going to ask any more questions right now.
Very good.
I'll add one thing.
Sure.
So given the type of materials here, our MBE bidder was able to had the best price on 17 items requested by the bureaus. So he was very competitive. 2 out of the 17 items requested he had lowest bid on. But under the scope, this particular scope, I can understand the open rock, the base rock. I'm not going to get into the technical specifics. Why a would-be bidder might sway away from this one if they can't get pricing for the amount of aggregate materials that we need here at the city of Portland. So if they're not getting a competitive price, I can understand why they may have been dissuaded from providing an official bid on this.
I just think as a matter of best practices, it's always good to go back and do that analysis, right? Why did you not, right? Was there a barrier that we could help you remove next time, right? Will be very helpful for us. Thanks.
Very good. Colleagues, any further questions? I move acceptance of the report. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hardesty. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye. Report's accepted. Last item from this morning's agenda, item number 805 was also pulled.
Approve application under the Multiple Unit Limited Tax Exemption Program under the Inclusionary Housing Program for Mohawk North 7246, located at 7298 North Mohawk Avenue.
Very good. I understand Commissioner Hardesty pulled this one, so we'll go ahead and let her ask her questions, and I assume we have staff on the horn here to be able to
Yes.
answer her questions.
Matthew Shopple is
Well,
on.
Mayor, I'm going to be respectful of the fact that we're all hungry and tired and we come back here at 2 o'clock. I wanted to have a conversation about the multi, especially with what we read in the paper about people facing 50% rent increases. And I realize that it is way late when we're coming back here at 2 o'clock to have that conversation. But I would very much like to have that conversation soon in this body so that the public will understand whether or not we really are providing housing people will be able to afford to live in for longer than a couple of years. All right? And so I pull my pulling it and ready to vote.
Point of order, or can she do that? Or do we need to take the vote?
I would take the vote, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, very good, but it was already pulled before we voted on consent. So if I have my ducks in a row here, I think we still have to call the vote.
I will call the vote. please.
Okay, very good. Please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan, for having your people ready. I want to really appreciate whoever was standing by through this very long morning to answer my questions. But I look forward to having that conversation in the future. For this particular multi, I vote aye.
Maps?
Aye.
Rubio?
Aye.
Ryan?
Thank you, Matthew. Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. We are adjourned until 2 p.m.